The Avengers, Doomsday. Man, oh man, that script leaked about Kang Dynasty, so we'll discuss that. We got that Superman footage. We'll discuss that. How is it looking? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be bad? How does Coy feel about it? How does Winston feel about it? Yes, I said Coy. Is he on the thumbnail? No. Is that because I didn't think he was coming back? Yes. So there you go. That's the answer to that question. We have other things. Channing Tatum may actually not even play Gambit. That's interesting. And we will actually discuss a lot of the stuff that was going on at CinemaCon in general. So that being said, it is the Kristian Harloff Show. It's myself right now, Winston A. Marshall, and Coy Jandreau eventually. What's another word for chicken?
Cock?
Yeah, that's right. Let's get into it. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
You didn't even play our intro because you saw I was dying too much.
Yeah. Didn't even play it.
Quiet. I gotta remember she in there working, bro. You're gonna get me in trouble.
Oh, it was amazing. So that whole story was that's just a little bit of a clip out, but the whole thing was just amazing because we were Roxy and I had a show. We were talking. Someone asked the super chat about Millie Alcock, and she said Millie Albee or something. I can't remember what she said, and I said, "No, it's Millie Alcock." And she goes, "Millie Alcott," and I go, "Cock," and she goes, "Cock." And then there you go. Here lives the best part to Winston at the end was the fact I was telling Steph is that she was wearing the same outfit, while we were doing it. So the very end, Luke sent it to me, clipped it out, and it looked like she had like Tourette's because she'd be in the middle. She'd be in the middle of talking, and then I don't know.
Cock?
Yep, exactly. And she knew it. She knew it the second she's like,
Jesus Christ.
There's only one. There's one. Only other bit that is going to be played more than that.
Motherfucking Batman. Yeah, that one is going down in history, bro.
Need more. Yeah. Okay. Coy's not here yet. So when he's here, we'll talk to him. But he's not here, so we can't talk to him. Does that make sense? I think so. So we have a lot that went down over the last couple of days in the world of comic book movies, Winston, and we're even going to cover some of the stuff that maybe isn't even in the comic book movies because CinemaCon had some big news. But there's a lot. There's a lot, and the first thing that I saw that I thought was pretty interesting was this Channing Tatum news because, as we all saw, there was his name that popped up on the chairs. And everyone was like, oh, okay, well, he's coming back as Gambit. Well, guess what? Channing Tatum, he addresses the Avengers Doomsday role, and he indicates that he might not even be playing Gambit. That's what he says. Do we believe him? That's what he says. Do we believe him? I don't know. Well, here's the article. It was generally assumed that the actors returning from Marvel Studios' Avengers Doomsday would be playing their established characters, but this might not be the case. Last week, Marvel Studios officially announced that production is underway on Doomsday with a massive cast reveal, and it unveiled a new actor's name on the back of a director's chair every 12 minutes. The 27 names were revealed by the end of the video, including members of the original X-Men cast, Sir Patrick Stewart, Sir Ian McKellen, Rebecca Romaine, and James Marsden, Alan Cumming, Kelsey Grammer, and Deadpool Wolverine's Channing Tatum. Though it was generally assumed that the returning cast members from 20th Century Fox X-Men era would play the same characters they had in the previous movie, the fact that the chairs only showed the actors' names and not who they appear led to some speculation they might be playing new heroes or villains. Tatum, who made his debut as Gambit in Deadpool Wolverine, was asked about his involvement with Doomsday during an interview with Extra, and his response might just suggest that there could be something to this theory. He said, personally, all I was guaranteed was a chair. They said that I have a chair, and I can at least watch the movie from the chair, and it was just my name. It wasn't exactly Gambit, so I work in the world of just like a binary yes or no's, and I've only been guaranteed so far a chair to watch the movie in, so that's where I'm at. If Tatum is playing Remy LeBeau, this seems like a bit of a cagey answer to give, since most people just assume he'll be reprising his Deadpool and Wolverine role anyway. May seem like a strange move to bring these actors back as new characters, but we didn't expect to see Robert Downey Jr. return to the MCU as Dr. Doom after leading the franchise for so many years as Tony Stark. All right, so I then will say this, Winston. What do you think Coy thinks about this?
Well, I think it's a bold swing to do anything except bring him back.
Wow.
But also, I think it's a
Wow.
very different tone of Gambit, so we can see either happen. Nicely done.
Thank you. Welcome back, Coy. Nice to have you. But I kid. I want to hear Winston's thoughts first because you were late. Go ahead, Winston.
I came back from Vegas.
Oh man.
What?
Yeah.
I gotta ask Luke, and he can text me. Why is it doing this now? For some reason now, when I push,
There's no. There's you wanted to go full screen.
Sure.
I know how to do it. The only thing I can say is if you want me to log in real quick, I can fix it.
no, it's fine. It's like so that's mine.
Yeah.
That's Coy's. But where the hell is that yours? Oh, there you. No, still doing that stupid thing. I don't know why it's doing. Oh,
So
now
weird.
it's very weird. I don't know why. For some reason, you're in that mode. I cannot tell you. That mode alone, this makes me want to never do StreamYard ever again. I can't tell you. I hate that. Like I absolutely hate that so much. And whoever designed
Try it
that
again.
for StreamYard should never design it. This is so stupid. I hate this.
I wish I remembered. Like if I saw it, I would just do it.
Yeah.
But
Why? And
that's
now there's like now it looks like there's a big glare with you're going
It's because I was trying to check the settings to see if there's something I could do on my end. But
all right. Anyway, please give your thoughts.
yeah, I mean, look, I don't. The immediate thing was what was said kind of at the end of that article was that
Just don't worry about it. Just good.
I'm just not even gonna look. I'm not gonna look at the camera. Then I'm just gonna look straight forward. It's one of those situations where, like, again, if we were already expecting Robert Downey Jr. to kind of come in and he's not playing Iron Man, exactly what they said at the end, then that's totally fine. I mean, we've already said that we expect for Chris Evans not to necessarily come back as our Cap, but to come back as Hydra Cap. But again, what we were thinking from another universe. So I think it's just the same thing. Is that we're not necessarily seeing the Channing Tatum from the universe that we saw. If that's what they're doing. We're seeing a Channing Tatum from just another universe. So it could be, and on top of the fact that, look, maybe he stays as Gambit, but he goes as a different Gambit. Like, it would be ridiculous to introduce New Sun, but we could, maybe he's playing that version of Gambit, which specifically is an apocalyptic. His powers ran absolutely effing crazy, and he's overpowered and all that. Who knows what they're going to ultimately do with him? But yeah, I think we already knew we were going to see a bunch of variants. So if that's what we're doing, then, it is what it is. Just don't make it too confusing and make it make sense.
Yeah, Coy, it seems like a lot of confusion. It seems like pretty confusing. If you're going to, especially to mainstream audience, you're like, oh, Channing Tatum back. I liked what he did in Deadpool Wolverine. It's like, yeah, but now he's playing somebody else. It's like, it's weird.
I would assume it's a mislead in the quote. I think it feels pretty consciously like trying to not be obvious. They might do a Gambit variant only in the sense that, like, we did see him at the end of Deadpool Wolverine in that last scene of all the TVs. There was a little frame of him entering a new universe, which was revealed like, a few weeks after. I could see that being like how he interacts with the X-Men, and that would be the Deadpool Wolverine Gambit. I could also see tonally how they want to make it, a little bit more serious because it's not in a Deadpool film. But that said, the Thor trick was, in Endgame and Infinity War, that's my favorite Thor. And they managed to blend the comedy of Ragnarok at the time into the seriousness of the Branagh films. And that Thor, to me, felt the most authentic. Like that blend. So as long as the writing is good, I think Channing Tatum can, like, use his dramatic chops and still have that comedy undercurrent and still feel authentic. But I do think, you don't want Gambit played for a laugh in this setting in the same way. So I don't know how that's going to work.
It's also another question is how big is his role, right? Because that was the other thing I want to read if I can find the article itself. And Luke very well might have sent it to me. I'm not sure. No, but Kevin Feige talked about. He gave a kind of little, not as big spoiler, but he kind of gave a little bit what Doomsday was about, and essentially what he said. You were there, Coy, right? You were at the. So why don't we do that? Why don't you from the stuff as far as Doomsday goes? We can get into the rest of CinemaCon and that in a little bit. But what did we learn about Doomsday? What did we learn about Thunderbolts? What did we learn about Fantastic Four? What kind of stuff did we get from this panel? Oh, you're muted, buddy. I don't know why you're muted, but you're muted.
Disney was the one panel I was physically not there for. That's how I got back in time to be here. So I can tell you from what I talked to the people in the room that it happened, but I'm the same boat with you on Disney. I was there for Warner Brothers, Sony, and all that stuff. But Doomsday wise, Kevin Feige basically confirmed that it is the Thunderbolts, the Avengers, the original X-Men, and Cosmic entities all teaming up against Doom. which is like a crazy, thing to just come out the gate and say. I assume that's why they wanted the names on the chairs to be, immediately revealed. But it seems like it's going to be an all against Doom, but we haven't had that power scaling yet that I talked about 2 years ago, where Doom would need to take on someone like Kang. There needs to be an introduction of Doom that shows a scope. Unless Doom, and this is the only thing I can think now, is Fantastic Four is its own pocket universe, or not pocket, but its own separate multiverse. The only thing I can think that could happen is Doom single-handedly takes out the entire universe that the Fantastic Four is from, setting him up for Doomsday. Like, it needs to be something of that caliber to make this work.
Yeah, go ahead, Winston.
With what in particular am I supposed to be piggybacking off of Coy, though? Because I guess you're talking about just dealing with Doom?
No, just your thoughts in general about what Feige said about the fact that the old X-Men, he basically gave a plot detail of what this movie's about.
I mean, look, I think that what I'm trying to take away from this at this particular moment is that when you have everything from the art leaks to the Kang Dynasty like script that got scrapped leaks to the fact that we have Channing Tatum back and forth, you have Elizabeth Olsen back and forth. If that is what they're actually doing, then it sounds interesting, and I agree with what Coy is saying about we need the power scaling of Doom there. But otherwise, it's kind of hard for me to take anything at face value, because what I appreciate is the fact that it feels like they're kind of going back to form of keeping us in the dark, which should have happened in the first place, because I think where a lot of these movies end up getting handicapped, I think about Brave New World and the fact that we knew a little bit too much of what was going on the whole time, and it took a lot away from what's to come. But if that's all we're getting specifically of what Feige was saying about that, then yes, I agree. As long as we can prove that Doom is a legitimate threat like that, then I think these will be good.
You got to make him. I agree with you guys. You have to make him a legitimate threat, and I do think that that's. And I made this point the other day, and I can't remember if you guys were on the show or not when I made it, but the point is that before the MCU, and if you knew you were doing 2 or 3 movies you have to set up your villain in the first movie. You've got to make him important, what the stakes are in that first movie. But because we're so accustomed to what and the MCU has done, we're like, well, you haven't set him up at all. We don't know how he's set up. We don't know how powerful he is. We don't know everything about him. It's like, well, that's what the first movie's about. The first movie is to show, like, okay, he'll show up in the post-credit scene of Fantastic Four or whatever he's going to do. He's got to be absolutely devastating. He has to be, because especially if he's not, because if all those people that he mentioned are fighting Doom, were fighting Thanos, they would have won. They would have won. So he's got to be so powerful that all of these people have to team up together. And it does look like from that conversation, the X-Men versus Avengers maybe is not a part of this, unless they still can spawn that off. What do you think? Or you think they're still going to play with that?
I think they'll still. I think what's going to happen is we've made it clear that the X-Men are in a different universe than the Avengers multiple times. Even as recently as the Marvels, we had the Beast at the end after she goes through that, portal, that space-time continuum situation. I would assume there's going to be an element of the Fantastic Four coming into our universe, an incursion event of some kind, whether it's Doom destroying the universe or not. But there's also going to be an element of the X-Men either coming into our world or our world going into the X-Men's. And there's inevitably, it's comics. There's going to be a conflict where they think they're the enemy and there's going to be a fight. And just like comics, they will end up realizing they're on the same side and teaming up. So I would imagine there's an AVX element, but I don't think it'll last long. I think it'll be a few scenes that'll be like, the kids playing in the sandbox, like, oh, what would happen if they fought them? But it won't be an entire act of the film. At most, I think like 20 minutes of it.
And what do you think, Winston, as far as the stakes that go with this movie? You think that they need to? Oh, sorry, this thing is really acting up today. Do you think that they really need to, again, establish Doom, have him wipe somebody out, kill somebody, change the universe that quick? Like, what do you think needs to happen with this new team up against Doom?
I mean, if you think about every villain that we've seen in the MCU that worked, they did something that was like, like instantly. So like on a lower stakes scale, like looking at like say Killmonger comes in, not only is really good, like charming, really good at knowing his history, but ruthlessly kills. When you think of Thanos at the beginning of Infinity War, where we get our formal introduction, has beat the brakes off of the entirety of the Asgardians and has Thor held hostage and all that kind of stuff, combos Hulk. You kind of need the same thing. So you need Doom to either F up an Avenger or destroy the Council of Kangs or you know, we know enough about the Fox X-Men universe. We need to have seen him like mollywop all of them, and only a few survive. We need to see him do something so egregious that it instantly kicks in. Oh shit, this is a problem.
Yeah, and I think Ant-Man, he did. Yeah, and I think that they also have to establish that because there's so many variants and everything too. Like he killed all the variants. He could like that. That's the kind of stake because. Right now, the audience that's really in tune with all this stuff goes, okay, well, it doesn't really matter anymore because there's so many different versions of people that they can come back. There's got to be an established, no, that's it. That's the end of this person forever.
I think that's why you need to start adding stakes to this before Secret Wars, because I do think Secret Wars is going to kind of clean all the continuity up, but we need stakes of this being like, oh, they're really gone before Secret Wars, and then Secret Wars has to somehow be even bigger. Like they have to really establish a lot of tonal shifts in two movies.
Agreed. So we have a lot more to talk about with that panel alone. There was Thunderbolt stuff. There was other things. And there's actually a news story that just broke that kind of proves Coy right if the things went down. I'll talk about that and what the hell that is in just a second. But before we do, I got to tell you guys, as I tell you guys each and every show, how important it is for you guys to support the show. If you want to support the show, I give you some options to get something for yourselves. And I'm going to tell you about two of our great sponsors right now. Here you go.
With Robinhood Gold, you can now enjoy the VIP treatment, receiving a 3% IRA match on retirement contributions. The privileges of the very privileged are no longer exclusive. With Robinhood Gold, your annual IRA contributions are boosted by 3%, plus you also get 4% APY on your cash in non-retirement accounts. That's over 8 times the national savings average. The perks of the high net worth are now available for any net worth. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. To receive your 3% boost on annual IRA contributions, sign up at Robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate subject to change. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold at $5 a month for 1 year from first match. Must keep funds in IRA for 5 years. Go to Robinhood.com/boost. Over 8 times the national average savings account interest rate claim is based on data from the FDIC as of November 18th, 2024. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. I want to tell you guys today about a new sponsor we're working with, and that is Rula. Finding a therapist you trust, it shouldn't be so complicated or cost you a fortune. That's why today's sponsor, Rula, was formed. Rula connects you with a high-quality, vetted, licensed mental health professional that is suited for you. And the best part, they take most major insurance plans. That means instead of paying hundreds out of pocket, you can pay as little as $15 per session. Rula also supports you every step of the way, from finding a therapist to scheduling your sessions to tracking your progress and dealing with insurance. They make it happen. Getting started is very easy. They ask you a few questions about what you're looking for in a therapist, things like your insurance, type of care, preference, and from there, Rula matches you with in-network providers who fit your criteria. You can book your first session and start your journey to better mental health as soon as the next day. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to Rula.com/Kristian. Get started today. After you sign up, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. You got to support our show and tell them that we sent you. You got to go to Rula, RULA.com/Kristian. Take that first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. Rula.
Thank you to Rula, and of course, thank you to Robinhood Gold. Make sure that you guys, again, look in the description of this video. You want to help out the show, you want to get something for yourselves, you want to talk to somebody, there you go, Rula, man. And of course, Robinhood. All right, so before we jump into, I think just kind of continuing on, guys, from that panel, just to let you know, currently, you want to take a guess, Winston, who you got to catch and how much?
Can you tell me who was on this week? Was it just Roxy, John,
Roca and I were on together on Monday, and then then me and Roxy on Tuesday.
Okay.
And then the hot mic invaded on Wednesday. Those two guys hosted together, and then myself and staff yesterday.
Okay, I'm gonna say Roxy.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say we're looking at
it's our first show back.
First show back, which both the movie and obviously the unfortunate passing of her grandfather, R.I.P. So I'm gonna say Roxy, and we got to beat like 185.
Okay, Coy, you got a guess here?
I'm gonna go Roxy because she'd been away. I'm gonna say 203.
Okay, you're both wrong. So it is Steph at 123.
Oh, that's actually manageable.
You got 10 at the moment, though, so you got to catch up.
That is less manageable.
You got 10, and you got to catch one from 3. However, Steph only had around 30 going into the question, so we'll see. Okay, that being said, we have more that happened at that Marvel panel. The Thunderbolts, the cast came out, had kind of, had some fun. It seemed like CinemaCon was pretty fun. They put on some better show than Comicon did with the presentations and stuff. Would you say that's accurate?
Man, more and more CinemaCon is so special. I love Comic-Con. Obviously, that's like my bread and butter as far as like growing up. That was a celebration of nerddom. But CinemaCon is more specific than Comic-Con. Comic-Con is just everything pop culture. CinemaCon is specifically the movie theater. And as someone that thinks streaming is the worst thing to happen to movies since ever, I love the exhibitor industry getting to be specifically celebrated. So more and more studios are going like, hey, we need to show that the movie theater is important. More and more studios are going like, we know that we need to extend the theatrical window. We know we need to talk about price. So this particular CinemaCon was like, we need to figure out ways we communally can cut costs of the movie ticket for families, how we can grow the window out without hurting people that have lost their attention spans to TikTok. And all of that was this great communal experience that felt like a celebration of everything that's come before and why we need to pivot into fixing these problems. So every single studio had an incredible presentation that was super, both giant corporation and mom and pop. Like they'd have these little vignettes and documentaries made about like certain general managers at theaters, like in Montana, like this married couple that like married into a theater family. And then like the GM at a San Diego con that like a San Diego theater that raised that for the cons. And like, to me, that's what art is. It's giant corporations. And like when you get to a certain point, it becomes this huge conglomerate, but also the little people that are building the foundation that allow it to exist. So I think CinemaCon has a little bit more specificity. And when you've got specificity, you can kind of hone in on what you're trying to say. And this year was absolutely that, trying to come back from the pandemic strike combo. This year felt like a celebration of like, we're still here.
Yeah, it seemed like it. It seemed like there's a lot of fun. I mean, I still, as I was watching it and like saying to myself, should I have gone? But in the long run, I'm covering everything that's there. It would have been great to see it. Absolutely. And those things. And from what you said and what everybody else said, How to Train Your Dragon live action is incredible, right?
How to Train Your Dragon is, I think, and this is a low bar, but I think it's the best live action adaptation of an animated film of all time.
Good.
Wow.
And the ads are very consciously aware of doing like, you're used to this. This is familiar. The film has a reason for existing. It's not a frame for frame. And I find in the animated adaptations often I'm like, I just want to watch Lion King. Like I don't find myself drawn to the different one. This one has such a difference. And I would argue the third act might be even better than the original, which is saying a lot. That's my favorite trilogy of all time.
Wow. Of all time, your favorite trilogy?
It's the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy, then the Before trilogy, and then maybe I don't even know what third would be.
Wow. Okay. That's interesting to say
that.
No.
Yeah, dude, the stakes are that high. Like Spider-Verse might take it over if 3 lands. We'll talk about that, I'm sure, with Sony. But How to Train Your Dragon, I think, is the best like full journey of a movie trilogy.
It's amazing. Okay, well, good to know. And I guess they said they showed some stuff. We'll get into, as you said, we'll get into the Sony stuff. We'll get into obviously Superman, which we'll probably talk about at great length in just a minute. But as I said, Coy, I want to give you some props if this turns out to be true, because when the Marvels came out, Coy was. I mean, we had this conversation, and I talked about this a few different times. I don't know if you know where I'm going with this, Coy, but like there was we had to talk about a lot of times. If a director messes up, we'll go, all right, you can't always, I say this, you can't always just say it was the studio got involved. The director has to take some responsibility for it. And Coy, to his credit, was kind of along the lines of saying, look, I think for the Marvels, I think Nia DaCosta might have gotten bullied by the studios here. Now, if you believe Nia DaCosta, then it seems like Coy might be right, because the Marvels director Nia DaCosta says the Captain Marvel sequel was not the movie that she pitched or shot. The or shot part is the interesting part. Like, if she pitched something and they said, no, this is what we want you to shoot, and then shot it, you're like, okay, but she's not even the one she shot. So the Marvel's director Nia DaCosta has reflected on shooting Captain Marvel sequel and confirms that the movie that we saw in theaters wasn't the one that she pitched or shot before Marvel Studios intervened. The Marvels released at the tail end of 2023's Hollywood strikes, and despite scoring mostly positive reviews, it sits at 62% on Rotten Tomatoes. The Captain Marvel sequel only grossed $206.1 million worldwide. That makes it one of Marvel Studios' biggest box office flops, and fans continue to debate what went wrong. Singing Planets. Oh, after all, how could a follow-up to a $1 billion blockbuster and critically acclaimed show like WandaVision and Ms. Marvel fall so short of expectations? The fact is, it happened, and filmmaker Nia DaCosta has finally reflected on her MCU experience. Talking at Dublin's second annual screenwriting festival, she started by saying a Marvel movie was her dream project because she was a big comic book nerd growing up. However, it didn't take long for the reality of working in the MCU to set in for the Candyman director, explaining that she stepped into a system and had to lean into the process. DaCosta added they had a date and they were prepping certain things, and you just have to lean into the process hardcore. The way they make those films is very different to the way ideally I would make a film. So you just have to lean into the process and hope for the best. The best didn't happen this time, but you kind of have to trust in the machine. It was interesting because there was a certain point when I was like, okay, this isn't going to be the movie that I pitched or even the first version of the movie that I shot. So I realized this is now an experience and it is learning curve, and it really makes you stronger as a filmmaker in terms of your ability to navigate. Marvel Studios is renowned for using reshoots to tinker with and improve its movies. However, in recent years, those appear to have largely done the opposite, with Captain America: Brave New World the most recent example. The Marvels ultimately lost the studio around $237 million. It seems the issue is something is going wrong with these movies during production, with not even reshoots able to course correct. With any luck, that's about to change, especially as Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige is no longer spread so thin, balancing a busy movie slate and all those Disney Plus TV shows. DaCosta also commented on working on the upcoming 28 Years Later sequel. She said, I'm proud of these movies. I told them I wasn't going to make a Danny Boyle movie because that would be impossible and also not of interest to me as a filmmaker. She added that her hope is that the movie has a fresh take and individual language. I didn't realize she's directing that.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. Okay. So
I want to clarify because 28 Years Later is getting a sequel. That's what she's
that's
directing.
what she's doing. She's directing
The sequel is the Bone.
Boyle.
Yeah, so Alex Garland wrote a trilogy. Danny Boyle's directing the first. She's directing the second. And then if they do well, we get a third.
Got it. All right, Coy. So look, I'll tell you what I liked about these comments. She doesn't seem like she's coming off like spiteful. She doesn't seem like she's coming off complaining. She doesn't, she could very well say, look, I wanted to shoot this movie. They had me come in. I pitched a different movie. I was shooting something. They came in. They gave their notes. That's not what I wanted to do. She's like, look, this is the way the system works. She's playing ball with these comments. She's doing the thing where she's like, look, it's just, I'm also going to let you know, it's not how I would have done it. But they got involved, and that their movie, that's what they wanted to do. I liked the comments. And I'll tell you, I asked the question up top, do you believe Nia DaCosta? I do.
I personally think the movie did not feel like any of her other work except for a few scenes of cinematography that definitely felt like, oh, this is what she wanted to make stylistically. I also felt like she was very clear in, hey, I'm going to do the press I have to do. This, is me avoiding having to speak ill of the company I'm actively working for, which I respected. It also felt like throughout the production, this is when Marvel was at their most, let's have the movie in pre-production already pretty much shot, rush it out. We're going to be in production for a little bit. The previs is already done. Like I've talked before about my concern with Fantastic Four had been it went into production when Superman had wrapped and it is out the same month. And that's crazy. So the amount that's done before they even start shooting. Now, what's different, the Fantastic Four, is Matt Shackman was involved from the jump. So pre-production, he would have had his hands on in that whole journey. And then he was in charge of production. Nia DaCosta did not feel like she got to make the movie that it sounded like she wanted to make from the nature of how Marvel was doing stuff then. I think they have fixed that. I really don't feel like it will be as much by committee going forward because I think they've had enough like, ooh, the audience isn't responding. That said, the Marvels, it's a struggle because I wanted to love that movie because I love Kamala Khan. I love Nia DaCosta. I thought Brie Larson was better, but that movie felt the most out of committee of anything I'd seen from a major studio in a long time because it literally felt like three characters only formed one identity. It's like, we need someone that's stern, put in this character. We need someone that's enjoying themselves, put in this character. It was like, human beings contain multitudes. Why does this movie feel like it's one narrative going forward?
It's interesting that you say that too about the Marvels, because when I we're doing a rewatch, and for people who are wondering where the WandaVision finale is, there was a copyright this morning. So when I'm done with this show, I'm going to finish the edit and we'll put it up a little later on. But Sam and I are going to be doing the Marvels eventually, right? And I'll tell you, I'm not dreading that movie the way I'm dreading Thor: Love and Thunder, right? Like I remember I saw it with Frank Janish, and I remember seeing it, and for like the first 20 minutes going, okay, it's not that bad. It's fine. And then the Singing Planet happened, and I was out. I was out with the stupid cat stuff. I was out with a lot of stuff. I was out. So I wonder, because that's the first question I would ask. I'm like, whose idea was the planet? Whose idea was the Singing Planet? Because that's still like, because the original rumor, and I don't know how true it is, the original rumor is that scene was like 20 minutes. Like that it was a long, huge musical number. Whose idea was that?
To me, that feels more like a studio that's known for inserting musical characters at all points, breaking into song more than the director of Candyman.
Maybe so. But again, that's the first question I would say. Who came up with it, and whose idea was it to make it 20 minutes? But Winston, you hear these comments in general. What do you make of this whole situation?
I'm appreciating people just being real, and you don't have to be rude while being real. Like I think that her comments are very a la Angela Bassett, talking about how I thought I had done everything I needed to do to win the award, and not to take anything away from Jamie. After the career I put together, after the performance I put together, I thought that's what it was. What it sounded like with Nia is the same thing. She was like, this was my dream job. It didn't quite go how I planned, but I learned from it. I played ball. Like, she had nothing disparaging to say. She just was like, this is not the game plan that we had, or what I was told we were going to do. And I think what that does is that brings a brutal amount of honesty, so that we can genuinely put the magnifying glass on the people actually responsible for what's going on. We can allow us to give Nia another chance for the stuff that she has going forward, but we don't hold any animosity towards either one. We're just like, all right, so yeah, do better. It is refreshing to see people tell us the truth, but not also instantly make us grab pitchforks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. I think that was I like the honest comments. I really did. But what about you guys? You guys like the comments? Do you not like the comments? What say you? Put your thoughts in there. We want to know. Listen, Warner Brothers, they had a big panel. It was a panel that they brought up a lot of different things that they're working on for sure. But the news was, of course, Superman. Now, they played this footage that I believe, Coy, the footage that they dropped yesterday, is that the footage that you guys saw?
I think, and this is from memory, I think we saw like maybe 15 seconds more. I remember some things that I didn't see in the thing, but it all goes by pretty quick after that opening scene, so I could have just missed it on second watch. But I think it was slightly longer, but we're talking 2 scenes in fragments.
Well, so they did show this extended scene that's going to play before Minecraft. It is now, it's up right now, and they have the sneak peek, and Warner Brothers Pictures and DC Studios have premiered an extended 5-minute sneak peek for James Gunn's Superman film. The clip debuting just 3 months ahead of the film's release. Premiering at CinemaCon this evening, the clip comes as Warner Brothers Pictures finally confirmed that this will premiere in front of an IMAX copy of the movie this weekend with a Minecraft movie. The new trailer follows in the wake of various reports about the film's test screening, which are either gushing or mixed depending on the sources. One of the most recent one claims the divided opinions are due to the episodic nature of the narrative, which reportedly feels akin to the all-star Superman comic. The new film will follow Superman as he looks to reconcile his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing, guided by human kindness in a world that sees kindness as old-fashioned. Superman stars David Corenswet as Clark Kent, and a bunch of other people we already know are in it. Okay. All right, so let's see. Winston, let's start with you. What were you watched the footage, I assume?
I've been on set the last 3 days, so I haven't had time. I've desperately wanted to, but I want to record a reaction. That's the problem. I want to record a reaction to it.
But this show, we're going to talk about it.
I am aware of that. I literally have been on set for the last 3 days, my guy. I haven't had time.
You could have texted me and said, "Hey, I need 5 minutes to watch the thing." Come on, man. All right. Fine.
Look, I am aware. Trust me. Do you think I'm happy about this? I'm not happy about this, but I literally
how about this? I'll talk to Coy about this.
And they'll let me go watch it.
And then why don't you watch it? And then you come back and you give us your thoughts.
Wonderful. I will be right back.
All right, fine. All right, Coy. Let's discuss. So what did you think about the footage that you saw? I mean, you probably took a lot of this in, seeing stuff that you've read in comics from the King aspect of what he's done. So give me a full breakdown. What'd you think? Had you seen this before?
So I had seen scenes, but I hadn't seen this footage.
Okay.
So like I knew certain elements, I'll be fair, but I didn't see. I've seen very little of Superman, but I knew the robots. Like, so to give context, like that moment wasn't as big of a surprise because of my context, but I've seen maybe 30 seconds more than people, but I've also read All-Star Superman like 10 times. So I was able to go like, oh, because of this footage. The thing I love about this footage is it kind of gives a context to everything we've seen with the opening, but it just kind of extends things. Like I really loved that Crypto was seen in one light and then we got an extension of that. I really love that we've seen Superman holding the robot and then we get the context of the kindness that Clark is going to imbue even onto something that says like, your kindness is wasted on me. Like it doesn't affect, but we're going to fall in love with some robots that know that we shouldn't feel for them. And then that's going to hurt. Like it gave all of that. And that's all right out of All-Star Superman. Those robots are out of there. The sun being used to heighten things to heal him is out of there. The fact that like it would be painful to fix his broken bones and organs and coming out of that, I think humanizes characters in a beautiful way. Like when Superman has nothing that connects us to him, it's a waste of a character. If you're just like, stoic guy growling and angry, I'm impassioned. Instead, like, if you're super powered, that doesn't mean you're completely impervious to pain if your organs are messed up. So I thought it was really smart to open the thing with like, oh, look, we're connecting to a human element of a superhuman. Oh, look, we're going to be this way. And then everyone loves dogs. So we've got a dog acting like a dog. So to me, this is already more Silver Age Superman than I've ever seen in live action. I didn't grow up in the Christopher Reeve. So this to me feels like the continuation of how I saw Smallville. Like Smallville gave me Clark Kent. I never got Superman because it cuts right before. This to me is the actualization of a character that I've never seen on the big screen. So I'm elated, but I know, growly people are going to growl.
Well said. You brought in a lot of points and a perspective that makes a lot of sense in the footage that we saw. I will tell you this. I'm going to tell you the stuff that I really liked about it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, it looks so, clean, but hopeful in which we were pitched. I loved that overall shot. I'm like, wow, look, you can almost feel like you're there with the way that it's shot. So I really enjoyed that. I think Corn Sweat is Superman.
Oh God,
it is Superman. Like, still you put yourself in this position of going, what the hell happened to this guy? Like that he's wheezing, he's got blood coming out. Like, who did that to him? Who was able to do that to him? It sets up a good kind of questions. It sets up questions that I like. I love the stuff at the end with the sun, with him blasting through, and him, and as you said, him healing and showing the look. He still gets hurt, but there's a way that he can. That this is the doctors. I like the fact that he's got people there, the robots there that are taking care of him.
And how the fortress looks. For me, that was like that moment of it rising out and the sound design and that impact.
Yeah, and the music was incredible. The stuff I'm not going to say that I don't like. It's because I don't, and I said this in my reaction. I don't have enough context for it yet, right? Because Snyder was on Wednesday and I saw the segment and he had set up the fact that Crypto was kind of like a really goofy kind of dog and jumps on him and when he's hurt and all these types of things and he just seems like a poorly behaved dog and he couldn't get behind him. He was annoyed with the dog. So when I saw that at first, I was like, well, we all have dogs that don't, some of us, I certainly do, who behave in ways sometimes when they should be behaving in a different way and not paying attention to what the hell's going on. So you can relate to that. Did I find it like, okay, he's laying there and his leg is popping on? I'm like, okay, what are we going for laughs right now when we should be locked into the fact that this guy is in serious trouble? And then when he gets there, I liked when he got there and they're carrying him. And I loved the line from the first robot. And the first robot was like, listen, don't thank us. It's what we do. The motion and putting it. I was like, okay, that shows you who they are. did not like the line from, "Oh my God, he talked to me." What are we doing? What are we doing? That is the type of James Gunn humor stuff I'm worried about in the movie. But again, I don't have enough context from a 3.5 minute clip, because the 5 minutes is the other. 2 minutes was the trailer we saw already. So same thing with the dog. I don't have enough context with the dog that if they set him up in the beginning, that's how he acts, that when you get there, that delivers on that, because you're like, oh, what's this dog going to do now? Because he's here and we know what he does because we've seen it. But if we were watching it for the first time and they set that up, that this dog was chaotic and everything, and he's calling him, you'd be like, well, how is he going to act? He's probably going to jump on his head. And then when he jumps on his head. You're like, oh, okay, well, that's what that dog would do. But he shows up when he needs to and drags him across the thing. So I don't know yet. I don't know how they set him up. So I can't judge on the dog. I just am worried about the quips. James Gunn loves his quips, and I'm worried about the quips. I did not need, oh, he talked to me. What?
For me, I don't disagree with any of those concerns. I'm definitely someone that enjoys James Gunn's humor, and I really think the scope is giving me everything I want. I do wonder, the balance of the humanity of Superman obviously is the other extreme than how we've had him theatrically for a long time. We haven't had Superman like this, and I think that's going to be alienating for a lot of people. But at the same time, I think we need to bring us back to a hero that we connect to. So I think humor is also another method. Like, there's the humanity of a man and his dog. There's the humanity of understanding enduring pain. But humor is also something that's like a great connector. So I could also see that being a factor in doing it.
Yeah. There's no world this person is talking to. There's no world. Did you not listen to? Tell me if you're talking to me, because then I'm going to kick you out of the room. Because there's no way you just listen to everything I just said and still.
That is baffling.
I mean, you clearly. Would you have wax in your ears? Come on. So anyway, I am very hopeful for this movie in general. I think this movie is going to do very well. I think I think there are a lot of people who are just as excited for it. They have criticisms for it, but like I said, I don't know yet what to think yet, because it's always been a concern of mine. I also like James Gunn's humor, but I like it when it's done and it's balanced, right? I like Peacemaker, it works. Suicide Squad, it works. Guardians 1 and Guardians 3, it works. There's a lot of Guardians 2. Like I said, I've come around on that movie a lot more today than I did when I first saw it, but I don't take back the fact that there's too much of everybody has a joke in that movie. Like, everybody. I've said it a million times over. Dave Bautista is essentially just a joke machine. Funny jokes, but he's a joke machine. Doesn't really have anything to do except tell jokes.
I'm hoping it's the right characters, like Jimmy getting his moments.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's going to be the balance. And I think Crypto will obviously be humorous, but I think that's how you get someone that's going to be so kind and sincere, like David Cornsweat's take, to balance out. And I just hope you're right. I hope you're right. There is an even keel to it.
Yeah, that's it. The movie having humor in it is fine. Having humor is fine. It's just a matter of how and can they deliver it. And will the robots? It's the same context I have with the dogs. Maybe there's a place where they set up these robots that by the time we get there, I'm like, oh, okay, that he talked to me line is actually kind of funny now that I have more context. All right, so Winston,
yes,
seen the footage, I assume.
I did.
And your thoughts?
I really liked it. I was worried for a second with Crypto playing too much, though. I took a second and I was like, you know what? That's literally how dogs are, though. Unless you have the most like police trained dog, and Crypto seems to be like, that's probably full grown there, but like it still feels like he's a puppy. So like it's one of those situations where I'd be like, yeah, he would think if you're whistling for him, typically you want to play until he registers, oh, you're not okay. And then he kind of takes him off. So I was like, that's actually pretty realistic to a dog. But I was concerned. I was like, uh-oh, it looks like Superman's about to die and Crypto's playing games.
Right.
And then we get to the robots, and I appreciate that there's no need to thank us. I was like, a robot would say that. Okay, I'm kind of here for it. But then the new one being like, oh, I came in on you guys talking about, oh, he winked at me. If there's something that previously said, hey, Superman doesn't really talk to us. We're just the help. It's whatever. So it plays off from something earlier, like a callback. Great. But yeah, I didn't love the robots. I was both here for it and a little concerned, at the same time.
Same. I felt exactly the same. I think you and I both just don't have enough context. right? It's like there just needs to be more context to it. But there's a worry, but there's also like it just looks so good. It
looks fantastic.
It looks really good. And we didn't see any Lois. We didn't see any interaction with Lex. And that's really the core of it. This could be because if you're going to, I think, smart, if you're going to put out a 5-minute preview or whatever, really it's only like a 3-minute preview, but you're going to put that preview out. You don't want to give too much of the movie away.
No.
You want to give a little bit of it, and you want to say, okay, look, watch this scene. Look here, we're gonna show you Superman. Superman ain't even flying in the damn clip, you know? And so they are though really playing on this dog. I wonder how much. I hope the dog's not in. And I saw another stupid comment in one of my reactions, like, this guy clearly isn't a dog person. Clearly knows nothing about me. Right?
Oh, dude, they don't know about the little fatso, bro. Because real talk. If you called him, he would do the exact same thing. Like I don't know if he would
absolutely do the same.
I don't know if he would ever listen to your commands to be like, take me.
If I had a snack, he would. Dude, there's a steak at the Fortress of Solitude. Take me with you, and I'll give it to you. Then he might.
Then you get it together. But that's exactly why. It's exactly why the crypto thing. For a second I was like, but I was like, no. That's literally how a dog would be. And I got
what I'm worried about though, Winston, is how much do you think he'll be in the movie? Because I'm hoping it's not a crypto movie. I really don't.
I don't think it will be. I mean, I think you're gonna end up with some moments where he's like clearly playing with crypto. If we're going with the fact that crypto is traditionally, Kara's dog, if there's something with that. And like if crypto came to find him, I think there's a number of things that could lead into it. But I think it's just this is just a nice thing. Like if we're comparing Clark to Superman, this is just a part of Superman's life. He has this super dog, and like maybe they're playing fetch sometimes in his off time and stuff like that.
I also think it's an important factor of like, what is a trailer? It's marketing, and dogs are a great connecting thing, and also. That's a great way to get kids to go, ooh, crypto. So I'm more thinking that there's going to be more by percentage crypto in marketing versus percentage of runtime.
That's a great.
Especially Coy, knowing that it didn't necessarily do the numbers that they wanted, but Super Pets did do well. If kids automatically connect back to that from a few years ago, then you're even getting some of the character that was in crypto that was like, hey, let's play. Hey, like, you know what I mean? So I think it's all a nice little through line.
I think Fanimator literally has not just for kids, Coy, Control C and Control V to everything I say, because he's like, animation, not just for kids. Dogs, not just for kids. Fanimator, thank you. I enjoy dogs as a grown man as well. I appreciate what you're saying. So I think marketing for all ages is important.
Yes, agreed. So I do think though that there was a lot of excitement around this. I think in general, I think there's going to be, this is going to be a massive movie in the same way that Fantastic Four is going to be a massive movie. Thunderbolts is going to be interesting, man. So curious. Yeah,
how cool is it that we feel like we have two event movies that feel like they're zeitgeist shifts though? Like to me, Fantastic Four feels like, Marvel doing something that feels Avengers big. And then Superman feels like an actual DC event to scale. This summer feels huge after CinemaCon.
It does. And I think that I think your point about the marketing is very, very well put. I think that it is one of these things where I know my wife wants to see Superman in general. I know that my 13-year-old, maybe not anymore, but if I show the 7-year-old the crypto scene, she might get interested in it. I might be able to get my 7-year-old in if she might really respond to that scene.
That's your baby Groot, man.
Yeah.
Like real talk. That's
100%. So this is a good question. Melissa is asking, did I ever say why I think that Thunderbolts will be better? You mean it's better than Fantastic Four as far as quality? I think that, and maybe I should clarify a little bit more. I think that as far as an overall film, overall movie, and the things that I respond to, it feels to me that Thunderbolts will be the kind of movie that I will find better. I think that the actors involved, I think that the scale of the movie, I think that the story of the film in general seems a little bit more different. Fantastic Four seems like a big superhero movie. It seems like a movie we've seen a million times over, but except we get to see the characters now in a way that we haven't, because they haven't done a good Fantastic Four movie. And I'm excited to see where it goes. But the dynamic and what they're going to potentially do with the Thunderbolts, to me, and even the way they're marketing it as like an A24 movie and these type of things. Now, granted, it's not going to be that, but it's still the idea behind it. I think it's going to be more character driven. I think it's going to be more story driven, and I think it's going to be a better movie.
You also just have the anchor. I like we were getting reintroduced to the Fantastic Four as like kind of a start off. You have the full anchor of the stuff we've seen in the past. So I think, I don't know, there's something always about getting what that whole like Jay-Z or allow me to reintroduce myself. Like that's kind of what we're gonna get from the Thunderbolts of like, we're the F ups, but I guess we got to figure it out. And I think that there's something intriguing about that.
What do you think, Coy?
I think that the A24 element will be like the tone in a way, obviously not to the same scale, but I think that is a little bit more like what Marvel we loved phase 1, where it felt like, oh, this is superhero blended with this. And I think, even when Ant-Man was a heist film, it was obviously way more superhero than heist film, but that little change felt good. I think throwing in the indie language and blending it with Marvel is exciting. I think fourth time's a charm for Fantastic Four. Mm-hmm. I do think that will also be great, and I hear the footage they showed was amazing. I'm really excited about it, but I think we've seen big space adventures more often than like and weird indie sensibility blended with. So I think they're both going to be great, but I think the good news is it's going to feel like when we went from Winter Soldier to Guardians, when we went from like, phase 2 where it was like everything was hitting different and it was different genres, but there was still a core. I think they're both going to be great, but I definitely have a little bit more excitement for Thunderbolts. And it's interesting to have that with, and I don't know if that's because Fantastic Four has hurt me in the past. Like Thunderbolts is also coming in cleaner. So yeah. I'm very curious how it all lands. And I think that the year is kind of one of those years we're going to look back on like, oh, this is when things course corrected. I think it's more about the macro than the individual movies. I think it's Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. I think it's looking at like, this is the year where things got back on track for all the superhero stuff.
Yeah. And I just like the crew in Thunderbolts. I really do. And I think that you're right though, Coy. I think that it's just something different. We haven't seen it before. So it's like, I just don't think I'm excited for Fantastic Four. I'm curious to see it. I want to see it, and I hope that it's good. But I'm not like when I saw the trailer, I was like, all right, let's go. I was that last trailer for Thunderbolts. I was like, let's go.
I'm such an underdog guy, and that's why I like comics. And Thunderbolts are underdogs. And then I think that Fantastic Four, by the nature of casting Doom, that moment when they cast Doom, it made me go, oh, they don't care about the Fantastic Four like I care about them. And that I think that devalued my hope, because Doom is a Fantastic Four villain. Like Doom is the Marvel threat that comes out of Fantastic Four. If you're going to invalidate Doom, how much can you care about them really?
Right. That is the goal they have to do. See, that's the thing. When we go back to Winston with Doomsday, how we were talking about how, well, we haven't set Doom up. We don't know. By the time we get to Doomsday, though, you have to set up the Fantastic Four that you care about in the way that, like, when Infinity War hit, right? Like when Black Panther walks out in Infinity War, and you go back to Wakanda, you're like, let's go, because they set that movie up so well. Now you're like, okay, they're involved. The Wakandans are involved. I'm so locked in. And yes, you'd already set him up with Civil War, but really getting more of the story with Black Panther. It's a lead in right into Infinity War. You're ready to go. So Fantastic Four, if they're that important in Doomsday, that movie has to be great.
I think I have a feeling as to why they did that. I think they specifically why they focused on let's make Galactus the villain here and not focus on Doom.
Yeah.
And again, if you're going to immediately then jump into Doomsday, I don't think that was a smart plan. But I think what they probably did is you look at the 3 Fantastic Four films that you had. If we're being honest, Galactus really wasn't the villain of the second movie, because Galactus didn't really exist. He was some mysterious kind of gas cloud type situation, and like a Waiting for Godot type situation of like an ominous threat. But it was Doom both times. And then you had the crappy, fan 4-stick, and you had Doom there too. And I think they were probably like, you know what? We need to try to find a way to differentiate ourselves from the other ones. Let's not focus on Doom for this first movie. We will still make him be important, kind of what the Batman did. We're going to focus on the Riddler, hey, the Joker is kind of hanging here though, like he's in prison, and I think that's what they did. But now you had to pivot, and you kind of backed yourself into a corner where you're like, okay, well, we are going to make Doom the main big bad for the Avengers, so they probably are going to introduce him, obviously, in Fantastic Four, but it's not going to be anything major, and then we're just going to have to do that going forward.
I'll go the other way with that. I'm glad they didn't make him the main villain. I'm glad they didn't, because I think it'll be more devastating if he comes in, because the other thing you want to see them do in the first movie that they've been back, you want to see them succeed. They're not going to succeed against Doom in the first movie, but they'll succeed against Galactus. They'll figure a way to beat him. They'll do, and you want to see them succeed in the first one because you want to, again, establish them as viable heroes. And you want to go, okay, look what happened. Now it's now who's that? Now they got to deal with this freaking guy in the next one. So I like that they didn't make him the main villain. I think it was smart. It might have been a happy accident because of, the stuff because Kang was supposed to be the villain. I don't know. Either way. So, but maybe not, because if you looked at that script and the leaked script, it was Doom wasn't supposed to come in until the X-Men movies. So who knows?
It really feels like you throw the Kang of it all in there. You throw all of that collectively. It was like hard pivot. And this was supposed to be our surprise trick play. We got to use it now because we're behind by a lot.
Well, speaking about being behind by a lot, 25 is what you guys have right now. You need about 100. You literally need 100 in order to beat Steph. So right now, there's 1,200 people watching right now. So hopefully, for people who don't know, what we do is we do all the topics. We'll do one more topic here, and then we get to the questions. And normally, whatever team of hosts gets the most questions by the end of the week gets a bonus. And so this week, right now, Steph sits at 124, I believe I said. So let's get to the last story, and then we'll get to the questions. Daredevil star Vincent D'Onofrio reveals why he can. I haven't even read this article yet. I'm going to guarantee this was from the Josh Horowitz podcast. I'm going to guess. Vincent D'Onofrio reveals why he can't reprise the Kingpin role in Spider-Man Brand New Day. Daredevil Born Again. Vincent D'Onofrio addressed his supposed absence from Spider-Man Brand New Day, explaining that it all comes down to complicated rights issues. So, Mayor Wilson Fisk attempts to put an end to vigilantes in New York. His main target looks to remain the Man Without Fear as we head into the final two episodes. Though Kingpin has mentioned Spider-Man, and many fans remain desperate to see these two cross paths. The wall crawler teaming up with Daredevil to battle Fisk remains the dream. Spider-Man 4, now titled Spider-Man Brave New World scenario for many fans. Unfortunately, it's hard to say just likely how that is. So Vincent D'Onofrio recently spoke to Josh Horowitz, there you go, and explained why he doesn't currently expect to bring his character into Spider-Man or any movie for that fact. He said, the only thing I know is not positive. It's a very hard thing to do for Marvel to use my character. It's a very hard thing to do because of the ownership and stuff. Right now, I'm only usable for television series, different kinds of series, whatever it is, but not a one-off Fisk movie or anything like that. It's all cut up in rights and stuff. I don't know when that would work out, or even if it would work out, or at all, actually. What rights issue could he be referring to? Well, the Kingpin debuted in the pages of The Amazing Spider-Man number 50, likely meaning he's one of the few characters who are somehow shared between Marvel and Sony. That stinks. However, with those two studios working hand in hand on Spider-Man Brand New Day, it surely wouldn't be that difficult to come to an arrangement to the MCU's Kingpin of crime to battle Tom Holland's Peter Parker. I think if the powers that want to happen will happen, powers that be want it to happen, then it'll happen. I think there certainly hasn't been any kind of talk of that it's not going to happen. I mean, to me, that's the direction that we should go, but who knows? You get these calls and they're like, oh, we're doing this now. I'm like, okay, it's like that. Perhaps his attitude has changed because Spider-Man Brand New Day will give fans a street-level story they're desperate for. We'll have to wait and see. However, without reading too much into D'Onofrio's comments, this does feel a little like someone who's deflecting and trying to throw fans off the scent. Now, you can read this a lot of different ways, guys. This is how we're going to do this for a second, because I'm not going to lie to anybody in this stream or in the comments. I'm about to pee myself. So I'm going to let Winston and Coy discuss this, and I'll be.
That's a desperate man. That was a full panic. I saw that.
Look, we got to give you a 5 minutes. You came in late. That was your 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to go watch Superman. He got to go be an old man. That's what that is. Yeah, Coy. I mean, I think we're in a state where with Iger and Feige kind of righting the ship of where things are, we're back to a level of like, y'all gonna stop telling everybody what's going on right now. And I think it's more of a mindset of, if it's important for Kingpin to be in this story, in the Super Spider-Man story, they will work it out. Because the one thing Sony likes clearly is the money that Marvel, essentially the checks that Marvel ends up writing for them when these things go well. So there's no world where I see them go, you can't have Fisk. If truly he is important for the story, they will greenlight that all day because they like what these movies have been doing. I mean, I'm curious what you think, though, man.
After No Way Home, I mean, that collaboration that they finally made work, I feel like that the relationship's stronger and better. It is interesting that there's, because the Netflix was the deal that started it. So I know that there are certain licensing rights where, like, I think Tom Holland can't do TV. I think that Kingpin can't do movies. I think there's a lot of like crazy red tape at a high studio level. So I don't know if you can solve that without new contracts. I don't know what team is holding that up. Like, to me, it seems like let D'Onofrio sign a theatrical deal separate of blah, blah, blah. But we then don't know if, because Kingpin's a Spider-Man character, if they even have the right to do said deal, because licensing is character and actor separately. So there's so much red tape. I could see this being true and just not possible.
I hate that it's not possible. I'll tell you that. And I'll tell you that I think that it makes me even more pissed off at Sony. It's like, Sony, just cut it out. You know, what are you gonna do? You do a Kingpin movie, and who's gonna wind up being him and a magical elf or something? Or
what's crazy is they might not be able to do a Kingpin movie because the licensing is so tied up in where that character lives canonically, because it's a Daredevil and Spider-Man character. But he started in Spider-Man, so technically his first appearance is in Spider-Man, making him a Sony property.
But hold on real quick though, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't the twins start in X-Men, but then ended up with the Avengers? But the Avengers kind of got them, and you loosely got Quicksilver off in Fox.
Like, that's why they couldn't call them mutants, because Fox owned the word mutant, so they were miracle children that were the characters that were not allowed to be mutants yet.
Which is also why you changed where their powers like spawned from, is that you were experimenting on them with an Infinity Stone,
and why they're not the children of Magneto.
Right. But you see what I'm saying, though, in the fact that, like, even though they would have technically been property of X-Men, you found a way to make them be kind of in both. So there's not necessarily a means that you couldn't do that with this too.
And what's confusing is Sony would be co-producing the movie. Like, he's a Sony character, but he's a co-produced movie, but it's TV rights that he signed up for because Netflix.
Well, I guess that's the question, right, Winston? Is let me ask you two questions here. The first one being what they kind of hinted to at the end. Is he full of it? Is he going to show up in the next Spider-Man movie? And the other side of that is is it going to be a street level movie? Because to me, it can't be a street level movie because it's the next movie after Doomsday.
It's the bridge.
Yeah, it's got to be the one.
Unless Spider-Man's actually not in Doomsday.
But even if he's, I guess that's true. You could do, but all right. I guess it really depends on what happens in Doomsday, as far as, because we're assuming that the entire universe changes. And if the universe changes, and what, Spider-Man's just going to have his movie unless it takes place, I guess, before Doomsday.
Well, okay. You know what? It's also a possibility that this is similar to Ant-Man and the Wasp, which I know wasn't the best of movies, but if you think about it, was also a bridge movie for the two Avengers films, because we had to learn about the quantum realm, essentially, and what all that was able to do, because then that was ultimately the solution to stopping Thanos. So it's very possible we get a similar type situation. It is a self-contained story about Spider-Man on a street level, but something happens there that directly affects how things go on between Doomsday and Secret Wars.
But the comic Brand New Day, I mean, I don't know how directly they're going to do it, but the whole point of Brand New Day was to change the status quo of Spider-Man back to street level.
Right.
It does seem like the movie needs to do that, and to name it Brand New Day is going to get a lot of expectations from people like us that have read it. So it's like, do they do that big of a mislead where they're like, we're going to call it the exact thing people want and then not do that? No, I'm not saying Brand New Day is the exact thing people want, but I'm saying the status quo is inspiration.
But that's why I think you're getting the Ant-Man and the Wasp
mid-movie treatment between. I don't think Spider-Man. I hope they don't make Spider-Man integral to Doomsday because of the Downey of it all. But
I wonder. Well, let me ask you the other thing, because we haven't really touched on it. We're going to get to the questions. Because Coy, the Spider-Man stuff really was started all of CinemaCon, right?
Dude, it was awesome. That was one of my biggest pops. That and the dynamic duo footage. We got like 7 seconds of dynamic duo during the Warner Brothers panel, and it looks Spider-Verse transformative. It's from this company called Swaybox, and it's a blend of puppetry, CGI, and live action. And it was in a montage, right? It was Warner Brothers animation montage. And there were 3 tiny moments that maybe are 7 seconds, and I actually felt myself be flabbergasted. Like I like, it's so rare because we see so much that I was like shook, and I was like, I've never seen that before. It was stunning.
But did you know the Spider-Man stuff? Any of it was coming? Did you know that the title was coming? Did you know?
I assumed the title was coming. I didn't know the title. And then I assumed they had to give us a release date, and I knew Chris and Phil would be coming in they had an Amazon movie to announce. Phil didn't actually make it, so it was just Chris, but all those pieces, I was like, I assume they're going to talk about Spider-Verse. And I'm team, this is great that they're going to get to do it their way. It was 5 years between the first and second Spider-Verse, 5 years between the second and third. Give me a third 5-star film. Don't rush the thing because of pressure. I honestly think they should have never given a release date. I get that it's a cliffhanger of an ending, but if you actually watch that movie, the arc that Gwen has completes a series and Miles sets up a new arc. That's a trilogy. I think giving the creators time to once again innovate animation to the same scale as the first 2 is much better than getting a movie 2 years sooner and it being good when it can be genre redefining again. So let them cook. I'll wait 10 years.
Well, Winston, the thing is, we kept talking about how there's 3 movies that people are now lumping in together, and it's Blade, the Batman 2, and this movie, the Beyond the Spider-Verse. You got to take Beyond the Spider-Verse out of that now, right? Because it looks like this. I mean, yes, granted, we've had release dates before, but there's even like a little teaser or something. If I was correct.
So yeah, I didn't get your text for 2 days. I was like, well, this is null and void now. But yeah, they didn't really show anything that new. There were a few frames in footage we'd seen, so it was like a minute montage of the story. It kind of felt like a Last Time On, like if you're watching a show. And then in that there was a frame that we then got a still from, which was Prowler in the foreground, Miles in the background, and then there was a couple frames of him upside down, and like basically the stills that came out were slightly extended to move, and that's all that was new in there.
And so, Winston, do you think that this movie's going to happen?
I mean, that movie is at least being made.
Right.
Blade and Batman are not being made currently. So that is the big difference here, is that, like, yeah, they're taking a longer time. Yeah, there's been some trouble, but like at the very least, something's been made. And I think the other big difference here too, you're talking about 2 movies out of a trilogy that have been genre defining. You're talking about 2 movies in a trilogy, one with an Oscar win, one with a nomination. Like, there is no world where they're going to be like, you know what? We messed up everything else, Spider-Man, and all the other stuff has not been successful. We're just going to not ever do the third. They will figure that out. I can't say that about Warner Brothers, because Warner Brothers has been in so much trouble.
Right.
There's a lot going on with DC. You never know. And I can't say that with Blade either, because since he has not been paramount to things that are going on in the MCU, if they're pivoting anyway, okay, but this is like a keystone for Sony, and it would not make sense to ever let them not finish this.
It seems like they kind of need to, right? Especially because of the end there. So I agree with you. But I ask you guys, man, what do you think? Do you think this is something that is actually going to happen as far as the movie? Will it happen? I think the answer is yes also, but the question is the date that they proposed. Is that actually going to happen? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. All right, we're about to get into the questions in just a second. Coy, this is it, man. This is the last free spot I'm giving to Trade Coffee here. I'll tell you, I've been getting a lot of people saying that they've been getting them and that they've been signing up, and I followed up and I said, listen, are they leaving us or are they staying with us? I haven't gotten a response yet, but I said I'm going to commit. I love them so much, and we're going to try to keep them on. So let's see if people get themselves some Trade.
I have been in absolute heaven with Trade Coffee being back. I have their new mug that they gave me. Got a whole big bag of coffee that I've been whole beans. Oh, I love Trade Coffee. It really is just legendary. So if you don't have it, you should, because for me, I have a familiar routine. Coffee for me is the first thing in the morning. It is what I need to start the day. I need those cups. I have 2 cups in the morning, and I have my whole bean from Trade, and I just love it. Coffee is important to me. Trade is the #1 U.S. specialty coffee marketplace. It brings you fresh coffee from over 50 country's top roasters. Trade's experts have taste tested thousands of coffees to curate over 450 amazing roasts. Whether you're new to coffee or you know your favorites, they'll handpick the perfect coffee for you. You just take their quiz, and in under a minute, they'll match you with your perfect coffee. If that first bag isn't quite right, no problem. Trade replaces it for free until they nail it. And trust me, they're going to nail it. Their prices are on par with grocery store brands, but the quality, next level. Plus, you're supporting your local roasters. It really is a win-win. There's a dark roast that I really like. I love the way it smells. And even Mike Kalinowski, who doesn't even drink coffee, he just misses being in the LA studio to smell Trade coffee. And the beauty of this right now, Trade is exclusively offering our listeners 40% off your first order at drinktrade.com/Christian. It's that easy. Drinktrade, TRADE.com/Christian for 40% off your first order. Drinktrade.com/Christian. You will get this. You will thank me and let them know that I sent you. Trade.
I love Trade. I'll have them forever. I really do. I hope the show has them forever, but we'll see. All right, guys, we're about to get into the questions. Currently, you stand at 31. Now, I think that's just about where Steph was when we started. So you got a shot to take Steph out, but we are going to.
Married. I ain't doing that.
I knew you were going to say that. I knew it. I know you so well. All right, Winston, with that really cheesy joke, where are you? Where can I find you?
You can find me at the Swaggy Blurred. I want to thank everybody that was here that came to the marathon stream, man. 12 straight hours. It was a great time. Really, really enjoyed hanging with everybody. This Sunday, I will be streaming again. I'm not going to be doing nearly as long, but I'll be on for a few hours. So definitely come and say what's up. And then I'm excited that now that this week of being on set is over, I'll be able to kind of go and give a little bit of a reset and some more TLC, as well as this coming Tuesday, Spill the Tequila with John Roca is back. So if you guys want to come check that out, that'll be happening on Roca's channel, the Outlaw Nation. I think is that what he still calls the channel? But either way, it'll be there on Tuesday afternoon. So come say what's up.
Mr. Jandro.
You can find me at Coy Jandro on YouTube. I just covered all of CinemaCon, each individual panel. I think I missed one the whole time I was there, but I did coverage of all the panels. And then I also did coverage at Real Rejects, and I'm doing more coverage of anything that I missed. I'm going over the news again. I also cover Daredevil every single week, so that'll be up on Tuesday. And then the big movies start up basically now. So every Friday, a new movie review. About 45K over there when I hit 50K, doing a 50 comic giveaway. So hunt me down for comic coverage, movie coverage, TV coverage, con coverage, and a lack of sanity.
That'll work. I understand that all too well. Okay, so we have the questions. We're going to start with them. Basically, the way it works again, guys, is if you submit any questions, you can escape us on the air as long as you want to, and we will start getting these questions starting. First one here, and again, you guys are at 31 currently, and we are going to get there's a lot of really good questions, and we'll start with our friend over at B Gill Studios. It says, "Hey. The new teaser for my film, The Dragonfly Dark Protector, is out now. Not here to promote. I'm just giving awareness to you guys and everyone here. Go check it out. Let's win today." That's awesome, Beagle. Thank you. And congratulations. Always a great accomplishment when somebody does something creative like that. So amazing. Did you guys, real quick, before I move on, did you love the Naked Gun trailer as much as I did?
So funny.
Dude.
I am all about it.
It was, Winston didn't watch it clearly. It was so hilarious. I actually showed my wife and my 13-year-old last night. They were dying.
It's Liam, right?
Yeah, it looks. Dude, you need to. It's like a minute.
So that was part of like I said, I behind because of being on set all this week. That's part of what I plan on doing on Sunday is to go through all of the trailers and stuff on there. So I will definitely be watching.
You definitely need to watch that one. That one was hilarious. Crashing Coyote. You hear who they cast in as Jor-El in the clip yesterday? I thought so. And I tried to avoid it. I told Roka I was going to avoid it. I didn't. And I'll tell you where I didn't avoid it. It was on Instagram with some freaking Superman updates Instagram account that I don't even follow.
I feel like I had heard rumors. One of the rumors come true?
No. Yeah, don't.
Chris asking if one of the rumors came true.
Okay, there was a big leak about who it was, and it's pretty. It seems like it's pretty legit.
I'll send you a.
You send me and who the name is, and I'll tell you whether or not, if you really want to know. Austin B. Homesick from work today. Oh, man. At least I can pass the time. What was that?
I just spilled.
You're right.
All right.
Oh, wrong side. I need you. All right, let's get rid of him.
Feel better. Heal up. While Winston takes care of his life.
Now, I don't know if you're talking to Austin or Winston's computer.
Both. Heal up. Feel better. Dry off.
Yeah. So it's so funny. Right as he was writing that, I was just like, "Yep, that's who it was." But now let's say Winston's back. Yes, Winston, the person. Oh, he's not even listening. This is a disaster. All right, let's see. Let's move you over. Perfect. I think that was Austin B. Yes, Austin B. Okay, next one here. And thank you for everybody who's putting the questions in there and asking those. Big Bust. I love the Superman footage. The effects and the soundtrack are great. It also reminds me of the most recent run in comics by Joshua Williamson. Would you agree with that?
Art, especially the scope of it, that power, and I love the wide lenses. So everything feels like it's got all this gravitas and scope. So yeah, I agree. I think even if the tone isn't for everyone, I hope everyone can at least get the beauty and style of it, because it is interesting how it's kind of like a specific tone, which I thought was always Superman, but a lot of people are upset with. So I'm curious how it translates. But visually, I think everyone can love it.
Christian Medard did not like what Daredevil did with Muse. His comic run was so good. I like the Kingpin story better than Daredevil's. Kingpin has a good story. I don't have enough reference from Muse to really know. I liked what they did with him. I liked how it concluded, but I think I can understand that if you really were invested in him as a character, that it's like, oh, well, the way that they played that out didn't really work well. But where do you stand on that, Koy? I'm loving Daredevil, by the way.
So the last episode is the first one that I didn't love. Like I've liked the episode, but I've loved the rest of the season. And that was the first one where I was like, oh, they kind of, the problem was, you know, when you have an idea and then you immediately retroactively go, oh, that would have solved my problem. Sure. And it's an easy one. It's literally, if they had just given him more time in therapy to set up the tease of the tension, I would have felt it, instead of like that one book scene. I was like, you didn't give us any time for there to have a relationship. You just said that they'd met. And that would have made that scene a lot more tense for me. And it would have allowed a lot more world building with all the characters. So I like it, but I'm not loving that it's over. But the comic character got a lot more to do. They did kind of the greatest hits. They did like key moments, but there could have been more.
Yeah, I really dug it, but I think also I don't have enough reference like you guys do. So I don't know. I like where we're going with it for sure. Okay, next one. Oh wait, did I miss one? Was that? I did that. Okay. Nerds Engage. If you can only see one, Superman or Doomsday. Ooh, you only see one? Superman's my most anticipated movie of this year. Doomsday's next year. Not most anticipated, but Doomsday. Well, I don't know, man. I don't know yet. I would have to. I don't have a try. I still have to probably go Superman because I don't have enough reference with Doomsday yet. But Doomsday could easily take that out. Where do you stand on that?
For me, I've been waiting for this for 30 years.
Freeze, Coy? That was good frozen moment from Coy. As Coy freezes, Winston comes back.
Am I here?
We're doing good. So what did you? If you can only pick one, Superman or Doomsday, and Coy's back now. Okay.
See, it's funny. I'm tempted to say Doomsday because I've made it very clear that Superman isn't my favorite character, but I think because it is something so unique and it is a reset or like a new start versus another trying to see if they can get it back together.
Sure.
I think probably Superman.
What do you say, Coy?
The Accountant 2.
You haven't seen it, right?
No.
So I know somebody who saw it and said it's just incredible.
Okay.
I may or may not have gotten to talk to Gavin and John at CinemaCon about it, but I haven't seen it, and it's killing me. But I'm gonna go Superman. I've been waiting for this movie for 30 years. I'm excited for Doomsday, obviously, but Superman is everything right now.
Nerds Engage support. Thank you, Nerds Engage. Following that up with some more support. Thank you, Nerds Engage. He's following it up. He's trying to push you guys over, getting to 40. Not bad. Just hit the 40 mark.
Oh,
50 when it gets real. Tyler Pfeiffer. Short of God Emperor Doom, it doesn't make much sense to have him be more powerful than Thanos, right? I think it does. He's got to be more powerful than Thanos.
If not, at least on par.
He's going to make Thanos be a bitch.
Huh? Yeah. Otherwise, the power scaling doesn't work with adding in the X-Men.
Right.
He's going to make Thanos look like a bitch.
Yeah.
Because it's plus Fantastic Four plus X-Men.
Everybody.
Like, that's not a challenge.
It's like, yeah, if everybody needs to team up to take this guy out, yeah, he's gonna make Thanos look like who cares? Armada, in my opinion, I think Marvel shot themselves releasing a 5-minute preview of Thunderbolts before Cap. Dig the marketing style, but feel there's too many trailers for it right now. I didn't even know that they did a 5-minute preview before Thunderbolts.
They did. It was a scene with them all kind of meeting each other for a little bit in like this room, and then after that, they kind of jumped into essentially what Superman did. The same thing, where you got like a scene and a half, and then trailer. It's kind of the same thing for Thunderbolts. This was a while ago.
Yeah, I don't agree with that they shot themselves releasing a 5-minute preview. Because it's a movie that there's a movie that needs a push. Nobody knows what it is. So yeah, I don't agree with that. I think that especially there's too many trailers for it. And I think when you say that, you're Armada, especially if someone who watches the show as much as you do, I'm assuming you're really locked into all of trailers and movie news and everything too. There are a lot of just people who are just not normal moviegoers that they want into the theater that have no idea what this is. And you show as many trailers as you can. Armada, CinemaCon probably should have shown Tron movie and Lilo. Well, I mean, just
Lilo marketing, and Tron got a big pop.
Did it? Does it look pretty good? No,
dude,
you didn't know.
Nine Inch Nails doing the music.
Okay, but that was for Disney, right?
That was Disney, yeah.
Okay, so you missed that one. Go, pal. There he is. Remember when Comicon was an episode of the OC where it was all about how Seth was a loser? I think that was the first time I heard of it. Yeah, the first time I think that I had actually, I don't remember how I heard about it or whatever it was, but the first one I ever went to because my ex-girlfriend used to work for Tokyo Pop, and she was going there, and I went there to visit her, walking around and I saw the first trailer for they revealed the title of Revenge of the Sith there, and I was walking by this room, and they're like, oh, they just showed this crazy pilot from this TV show, and I was like, oh, what's it called? It was Lost. And it was that was the first Comic-Con I ever went to. And then I didn't go back to Comic-Con until probably like 7-8 years later with Ellis for the first time. Yeah.
Wow. That's funny. I feel like that was when I met Kristen, my lady, that was one of the kind of the jokes when she knew of what I did for a living. She's a big OC fan. So her being like, oh, that.
First time I went, I cosplayed, which I have not done since, but I dressed as the Joker because Warner Brothers hired me to be the Joker at theaters, and so I had a screen accurate Joker outfit. So my first ever Comic-Con I did, and I've never cosplayed since, but it was really funny like how different my cons are now, going as the ultimate fan to like it's a work event.
You know that like to this day, like I've been to a number of I still have not been to SDCC.
You've never been to San Diego Comic-Con?
Crazy.
Wow. I would have never guessed that.
I've been to LACC a bunch. I've been to PAX. I've been to all sorts of anime ones. I've been to Dodgeball one. I have never been to SDCC.
We got to fix that. Also, I'm bringing Winston to a con out here in Cali around Superman.
Yeah, you told me. That's great. So I'm glad that's happening. Armada, Coy and Winston, do you guys watch Silo on Apple?
I do not, but Apple, I'll be honest, man, Apple really doesn't miss.
Yeah.
Like there are plenty of shows that you never hear of. And if that's the case, okay. And the main reason for that is just because they don't care, but they put out such quality that the ones that anybody ever hears their name for real, they do not miss.
I think it's easily the most consistent streamer, and I would argue the only consistent streamer where I'm like, oh, if it's Apple, I'm watching it. If I hear about it, like I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's good, like you just said.
Studio is so good.
Studio is so good.
It's so good. Andrew Krivolka. Hey, Coy, I love the How to Train Your Dragon reaction. Do you think I can enjoy it if I've never seen the 3 animated movies?
I think the beauty of it and my love to Fanimator for this is that it's going to lead people to the animated films. I think that, sometimes people don't watch something because it's animated, which is short-sighted. But I think the love of this movie is going to make people go like, oh my God, there's a whole trilogy of this. It's the same director of the animated films. So I love the idea of that making people like, he clearly loves this world. He's lived in it for 10 years. So I think it's going to bring people the other way. So you can absolutely watch it, but then watch those.
That's great. That's good to know. Yeah, I mean, Gerard Butler is reprising the role, right? Yeah, go ahead.
Dude, at CinemaCon, they had the premiere before the panel. So the premiere of How to Train Your Dragon was in the morning. And then Universal's panel was like at 2 or whatever. So we'd already seen the movie. So like, of course, the big thing they want to talk about is How to Train Your Dragon at the Universal panel. But we'd already all seen the movie. So they played the music. They had a live orchestra. They played the music as they came out. And they were like, well, we really wanted to honor like Mason and the actors who played me, like Astrid was saying. And then Gerard Butler's like, and you know, I really thought no one could play Gerard Butler like Gerard Butler. And he starts hyping himself up. And then the director who directed all of them interrupts Gerard to announce we're getting a live action sequel. So How to Train Your Dragon 2 is also getting a live action. But it was so funny. Gerard Butler got to hype himself up for like 4 minutes. And I was like, only one man.
Really good. Go, pal. Natalie Morales' new movie reminded me of how much I love The Middleman. Corey, do you follow Javier Grillo Marx comics or watch the show?
I don't. I've heard good things, but that's one of those comics that I was like too late on. I've heard the show is good, but that's not my world.
Fair enough. Buster Barnes. The sneak peek was great. It looks even better than I thought it would. Visual, suit, CGI, all fire. I like how the robots get more human as they're made. Yeah, I guess that's another question too, right? Is how much like AI is in them? How like they got to set it up. It's got to be more. I'm with Winston right now, but go ahead, Winston.
No, I was just gonna say the other thing too that I appreciate is the one thing that the robots did get me excited about is that was giving me very All-Star Superman. I was very much appreciative of them leaning into that. The only thing about All-Star Superman, as much as I love that comic, that is a story about Superman dying. And if you're starting off your universe, I'm just like, all right, let's do some of it, but let's also not kill Superman in the first movie.
Yeah. Who's this? Old Man Mike. There he is. Off-screen impressions, dropping by to record Black Bat. Thank you, Old Man Mike. Always happy to have you on the show. 45 at the moment, guys. 45 with about 20 minutes or 40 minutes left to go.
Also, I know that we weren't on when this happened, but rest in peace to the other Top Gun guy, man. Shit.
Oh yeah, I think someone put that's. I was saving it because someone's yeah. So we'll get to that in just a moment. We'll talk a little bit about him. Honestly, wasn't a fan of the humor in the Superman footage. Dude is dying and it becomes played for humor. Visually looks great. Won't judge on this. I don't disagree with you, R. I think that it's like I kept saying, though, it's just a matter of context. It's a matter of, you got to remember, think about it this way also. By the time that you get there, is the previous like 5 minutes serious? Are you locked into it? Are you feeling, and do you maybe need to laugh? And do you need to feel hopeful from that? Maybe that's kind of the point of it. But I don't disagree that if it's like, okay, he gets in a boom, we're supposed to feel like, oh man, there's all this like despair, and then you get the hopping of the dog and his leg is moving all goofily and shit. Then it'll seem awkward. But I don't disagree. All right, next one, and we will get to Rescue. Yeah, good.
I was just saying, Coy, because I was thinking for a second, and I just unlocked a memory. Wasn't it in Secret Wars when God Emperor Doom just straight up ripped out Thanos' spine? Yeah.
When Kristian said that he had to body Thanos, I was like, canon, because like literally God Emperor Doom has pulled, he's fatality'd him.
Because he doesn't even ask him. He's like, "Do you have the Infinity Gauntlet?" He's like, "No, I don't." It just disintegration.
That could also happen.
Yeah. Rescue. MCU humor and the Flash cinematography is a recipe for disaster. I don't know. Flash. I'm a Raimi fan, and it killed Marvel. We don't need this for DC. The Batman quality. I understand what you mean. You want a little bit more serious for Superman, but I think we got that in the. And I like Man of Steel. But I think we definitely need more lighthearted. But it depends on. You're not wrong. I don't want to see MCU humor in this movie. I don't want to see a lot of it. If there's. But you would get that whole he talked to me stuff throughout the entire movie. It's gonna wear on me. It's gonna wear on me. So it depends on how the tone is. It really does. Okay. But yeah, you guys are on the same. I know Corey definitely feels like you don't want to see another serious Superman. You want more of the hopeful Superman.
I want to see a Superman that I've been reading my whole life.
Yeah. I want to see the Superman that you were the one that got me into Superman the movie. Like that is hopeful, kind of doofy Clark, but also I'm actually a super stellar. The only thing I don't want to see, Why did you need to kiss that random chick while you were covered in the kryptonite chain?
Miss Tessmacher's in this.
Yeah, dude.
Why'd you need to back up Miss Tessmacher? You need to do that. That was unnecessary. That was Spider-Man kissing Gwen in front of Mary Jane bullshit.
Oh, but no, because Lois wasn't there.
But it still didn't make sense.
Well, that's fine. Not making sense is okay. Well, it makes sense when you look at Miss Tessmacher, but as far as that's never gonna. Peter kissing her right in front, right after they just had this whole conversation. Oh man,
insane! Before the black suit, what are you doing, Pete?
I know. Jason Ashcroft, optimistic about Superman. Didn't love the scene that was released, but I'm hoping it's a little more serious of a tone. Yeah, let's see what we get. Let's see what we get. Buster Brown. To be fair, Crypto has probably never seen Superman injured before. I doubt they've ever been together that long, and he's probably arrived with Supergirl. It's a good point. Probably doesn't know what he's doing. He's never seen him hurt like that before. So what? And maybe he doesn't know.
Guarantee they play a lot of fetch, and the whistle is typically to cut. Let's play, and that's probably why.
Right. Yeah, it could be. Go pal. I love when the John Williams theme kicked in. Loved that. I love that they're going to play.
That score is so good.
Love that. Who's composing? Is it the same guy who composed Guardians?
I don't remember, but
wasn't it John Murphy?
That sounds right.
I thought it said John Murphy.
But he composed Guardians, didn't he? And Suicide Squad and all that. I'm assuming that's James Gunn composer. I would assume so. All right. Currently, you guys just hit 50. Hit 50.
Come on.
Can you do it? Let's see. Okay. Next question. Again, thank you to everybody who has been a part of the chat today, been part of the conversation in general. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I'm so glad for our first reunion show with myself, Winston, and Coy back on the show. Joey Pedras, who do you think is the biggest pull for the average moviegoer for Thunderbolts? Florence Pugh, Sebastian, or somebody else? I actually think it's David Harbour.
I'd say those three. I'd go Sebastian for Marvel fans, Florence for casual fans, and Harbour for like a blend.
He said average moviegoer.
Oh, so, then I would say average would be Florence or Harbour.
Right. The question is who, because even with Florence Pugh, what movie has Florence Pugh been in?
John Murphy is the composer.
Okay, and we assume he did that stuff. But so, what movie has Florence Pugh been in? That's it's Dune, right? But she's not the lead in that.
Midsummer.
Right, small film.
The one about the Little Women.
You're right. You're
proving it. So small role in Oppenheimer, small role in Little Women, small movie in Little Women. Small
movie, and then one she just did with Andrew Garfield. She's phenomenal. She was in Oppenheimer also, obviously, but again, not the star of that movie. She hasn't been a star of anything that big, not of anything. I shouldn't say that. Star of anything like so massive for as far as the average moviegoer is the point of this.
Whereas Harbour's Stranger Things, and
if you said to somebody, okay, who's in it? And you go Florence Pugh to the average moviegoer, they go, who's that? Well, she was in this, and oh yeah, I know who she is. As opposed to David Harbour, he's Hopper from Stranger Things. Oh yeah, I know Hopper. I think you're getting more average moviegoer.
It's also crazy that.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say it's also crazy that that's this year, adding to the event nature of how crazy this year is that we're wrapping up Stranger Things. So like Harbour having these two hits this year is crazy.
I think I hear what you're saying, that she hasn't necessarily been at like the straight forefront, but she's one of those actresses. Like, I'm trying to think who would be a good example, like maybe in the 90s to compare to, but she's one of those actresses that A, because she has an Oscar, and B, because of where she gets strategically placed. So being kind of stealing the role or stealing the thunder away from Scarlet and Black Widow, and because
a Black Widow,
and you know what I'm saying? Like she has been enough in the zeitgeist, let alone like, she was doing like the sheer dresses and talking about like her body and stuff like that. A lot of people resonated to that. Like, I just think that she's enough in the zeitgeist that she just has that pull.
I think she is. I'm not saying she doesn't. I'm just saying if I was telling somebody outside just the average moviegoer, if they're like, who's in that movie? And actually, none of those, neither one. Julia Louis-Dreyfus. Yep. That's a selling point because but that's the name. Anyway, Jim 1, R.I.P. to Val Kilmer. Love the scenes in Batman Forever where he narrates a flashback of young Bruce facing down the bat in the cave to realize his destiny. Yeah, we were going over his entire library and everything that he's done. I mean, obviously you have Heat 2 coming out soon, but Heat's one of the best. The Doors, something I always remember too. Real Genius, Top Secret, Top Gun. I mean, so much, but That was pretty. Coy, you were in Vegas when that news broke, huh?
Yeah. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang is my favorite comedy of all time.
Great.
That and In Bruges are my two favorite comedies ever made. And I always loved that he went from being action star of my childhood to comedy star of my adulthood, and then like bounced around all of it, because I was such a big Top Gun guy. And then I discovered Tombstone in my 20s. And then I discovered Heat in my mid 20s. So he stayed action. And then as soon as I thought I like figured out Val Kilmer, then he's like the funniest dude in Kiss Kiss. And then like when I discovered that, he was about to be Mark Twain for 10 years. So the guy's just fascinating. His art was amazing. He was always so funny online. I think he's one of the big movie stars of like our generation, like people that are late 80s born. This one hurt because like he's so impactful for so much of my life.
Yeah, Winston, I saw you'd seen it pretty late at night, because I saw a text from you. Obviously, after I'd heard the news, I saw that you too.
Right around when it drops.
Yeah. So I mean, this is he's probably one of the Batman for you, right? When you were kind of growing up.
Batman. I mean, like there's obviously I've seen him throughout all over the place, but like that was, I had seen 89 in Returns, but I was too young to retain anything. Batman Forever was like the first Batman movie that is like fully planted in my mind. So for me, even though like I always say, when people ask who's your favorite Batman, I go Kevin Conroy, also rest in peace. Yeah. In my mind, he's the first live action Batman I saw, in the same way that Pierce Brosnan is the first live action Bond I saw. So there is an imprint there. And then from that point forward, going back and seeing the rest of his filmography is just what's crazy. And boy, worked, man. 100, according to IMDb, 103 movies.
He's a lot of stuff. But RIP to the legend, Val Kilmer. I would also recommend to everybody to check out that documentary, Val. It's great.
It's incredible.
It's great. So there were three up top that we missed. Zeke Numagulu. I definitely said that wrong. Will you rewatch Andor season 1 prior to season 2 airing? I will, and then rewatch Rogue One after season 2 ends. No, because I've already seen 2 episodes of season 2. That's all I can say. I'll be watching the whole season pretty soon. So no, I'm not going to rewatch it. But then I probably will watch Rogue One, depending on how it ends. Zeke then follows it up and says each episode of Daredevil Born Again gets better and better. Episode 7 was peak in the fight with Muse. Oh my God, I'm with you. And Coy's on the opposite side, but I'm with you.
First
Zeke,
one that came for me, but I like that you liked it.
Yeah, and then Zeke also says, "Where's Nick Mundy at these days?" I have no idea. I haven't spoken to him in a long time.
Real quick, sorry, I'm still stuck on the Val thing for half a second. I also think that it's a very beautiful thing that we actually got to kind of say our goodbye to him in Maverick.
I know,
scene
right?
really was almost an homage to like, his sickness that kind of kicked in there. It really felt like us being able to say goodbye a few years ago.
It's true. Okay, Alex, I know a lot of us have thought that Galactus would cost the incursion for Fantastic Four, but maybe Doom will take out Galactus to show us his power, and then amalgamate the world into Battle World, leading us to Daredevil.
Doom taking out Galactus would be a hell of a power scale. I like that idea.
Yeah, and he also follows it up and says this would set up an arc for the Fantastic Four redemption. I mean, he's not wrong. Alex comes up with some great points. Yeah, that's a good. I like that. I like that idea. I mean, yeah, if he's the one that actually comes in and do it, but I don't think they're going to lean on him to do it though, because I think they do want to establish the Fantastic Four again as viable heroes. But who knows? Austin B. Hey, Coy, what artist did that Wolverine art on your wall? I'm really into it.
That is Cassaday and Eisenove on colors and inks. So Cassaday is incredible. He did the Astonishing X-Men stuff. And then the Eisenove ink and color really makes it pop. It's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah, I do like that one a lot. And that Rita Hayworth one is the one from Shawshank, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Again, we are right now currently at 59 for Coy and Winston. And now we get to the next one is the Cali Kid. Coy equals God. Look at that, Coy. You got
wow.
Deity. Okay. Next one. Again, a lot of questions coming in here. Trying to get you past Steph. Go, pal. I just saw a thing saying that Anne Hathaway and Robert Pattinson are about to start filming The Odyssey. Did we know they were going to be in it? Yes.
Cast is insane. And anytime I hear someone new, I'm like, that tracks.
Yeah, but that I knew Pattinson was in. I knew Hathaway. I knew both of them were in it. Hathaway's worked with Nolan in the past, as has Pattinson. So I think it's just like he's getting all his all-stars in for this one. But yeah, absolutely.
You think this will be his last movie?
No.
I don't think it'll be his last. I think it'll be the generational movie though. Like this is huge.
Yeah, no, they were interviewing him and they said, "Will you be making movies in 10 years?" And without hesitation, he said, "Yeah."
So what if you had to pin this up against another director and like their quintessential film? Who would you compare it to?
I got to see the movie first. Before I even say that, I got to see the movie because I mean, this is it depends on the epic on what kind of scale it is and how it plays. I mean, it's quickly because I'm so stressed out about my 2026 most anticipated list. I do not know where I'm going to put this. It could jump into that number one spot.
So to that point, I'm just curious because again, I'm just in it. Like the way this is being built out, it feels like this is his magnum opus, and obviously he'll still go. What would you say like is Spielberg's greatest movie ever? Like his cornerstone piece?
I think no, it's the best movie ever made.
Yeah, like the thing that when you think Spielberg, you think not only top of his game, but then like associated with the name. Because I know for example that Cameron has done a lot, but I would still argue that it's Titanic based off of just what it did.
Sure, but I think Spielberg would tell you it's Schindler's List. I think from what he that movie in general, like what it is, and like you can't watch that movie more than once. Not because it's not beautiful, and not because it's just I mean, that's putting it mildly. So my favorite Spielberg movie is actually Saving Private Ryan, followed by Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Sure.
So, but I think people will say Jaws for Spielberg.
Or Jurassic Park, like you know what I'm saying. That's
right. It's hard, but anyway, let's Kenya King. So the Swaybox animation for Dynamic Duo is amazing. Oh, you're muted, Corey. You muted yourself for some reason.
Oh, sorry. Moving around the trash cans were by. I think in Spider-Verse changed animation. I think this is going to do that for puppetry blending with CGI. It gobsmacked me. It was so cool.
Yeah. Austin B. I'll say, Kristian, I was initially against using the Williams theme in Gunn Superman, but with the teaser and the sneak peek, I'm with you. Really hope this movie hits. Yeah. I mean, I get it. I guess the hesitation is like, we need a new theme for Superman. I understand that. But I've always used that argument of if you have if a character that iconic gets hit with a theme that works that people associate it with, and the way they did with James Bond, you should use it. Moving forward, like I think Harry Potter in the new series should use the John Williams theme. Like, don't come up with a new theme. Don't try it. It's because you associate it too much with it. Hans Zimmer did a great job for Man of Steel.
It would have to be so drastically different because, like, for example, Nolan did his own thing with Batman. Like, there is a Batman Begins era or Nolan Batman era Batman theme or Dark Knight theme versus the da-da-da-da, you know what I mean? So
right. Thank you to DJ Case for the support, and then we have super sticker as well. Jim 1, will Disney World ever get the rights back for Marvel?
I don't think so, because it's different rights on that side of the Mississippi. So Universal, like if you go to that theme park, they've got the comic rights. They don't have the Marvel movie rights. So I actually like going to Universal on the West Coast more than I like going to Disneyland here, because here it's that weird military Avengers tone, whereas there's giant 30-foot Wolverine art and like Fantastic Four eateries, and like it feels like comics. So I hope not.
Okay. Gopal, did I see a still of a live action Robin yesterday? I don't think so.
I don't think so. You probably maybe saw the claymation still from Swaybox.
Maybe. DJ Case gifted 10 memberships. Thank you. It's a great time to have it. I always tell everybody who's a new member, make sure the first thing you do is go read the Capes and Cowls comic book. It's got the three of us as the lead characters. Once the whole thing is done, we are going to be doing the voices, adding music to it and sound effects and all that stuff too. It's going to be great. So make sure you check that out. As well as we have the unedited reactions and other things. There's a lot going on. Dean Lewis. What's up, Dean? Digging the fade, Winston. Drip, drip. That's old school. I haven't heard that drip, drip in a while. Gopal. Are they doing a Robin movie I didn't know about? I don't think so.
Not that I know of.
I think maybe just the dynamic duo thing.
Yeah. Okay. Currently 15 minutes left at 66, gentlemen. Not bad. Patty Boy. This is Too Fun Winston's Dodgers custom jersey. How they doing this year, Winston?
I mean, Shohei Ohtani literally told the Braves to hold his beer when they thought they were going to OT. That was fun.
Okay. You mean extra innings? Tyler Pfeiffer. Fair enough. I thought Thanos was more powerful. Yeah,
Doom is gonna have to be God Emperor Doom to scale. That's just gonna have to do it.
Has to be. DJK support. DJK support. Thank you, sir. Tyler, who said, Trey, excuse me, Trey. 1 and 2. I got tickets to my first ever concert for the Wu-Tang Clan in their second to last show and their final tour in Newark this July. How cool is that?
I'm so jealous. That's amazing.
Isn't Run the Jewels opening for them?
What a duo.
What?
Run the Jewels and Wu-Tang.
I want to go.
That's insane.
I really want to go.
Let's need a few $100. I want to go too.
Are they going to be at the Garden?
Probably. I'd be willing to see it.
But I wouldn't be surprised if they don't do the Garden and they do something bigger if this is it.
Garden's pretty big, dude.
No, I know that, but I'm saying like isn't like the Meadowlands, like, you know what I'm saying, like a giant stadium.
Yeah, I don't like the sound. If I was them, I would want to do the Garden. Meadowlands is too the sound isn't the best. Dancing Dog 60. Hey guys, fun fact: back in the 70s, New York City was the con to attend. In the 80s, it was the Chicago Comicon. Now it's San Diego. New York needs a big comeback. That's one, Winston. I've never been to New York Comic Con.
Dude, I love both those cons so much.
Are you going this year, Coy?
I'm gonna try, yeah.
Okay.
And I want to try to add a day or two on either the front or back end so I can be in New York because I love that city.
You should try, and you should also see if you can have a date. You should come in here.
Yeah, I want to see and get that pizza.
There's like a bunch of different places I could take you. D2. I'm hoping you show Sam Agatha all along reactions if she loves WandaVision. She does love WandaVision. She really did. And we're watching. She's coming in just a little bit. We're going to finish watching Falcon and Winter Soldier. But I'll probably have her watch. There's going to be a couple series that I'm going to suggest to her and say, look, if you want to be caught up in this, watch this on your own time. That will probably be Miss Marvel. That will be She-Hulk. That will be Secret Invasion. And that'll probably be Agatha. On the ones that she can watch on her own. Trey, following up, have you guys ever seen them in concert? And do you have any first-time concert memories or great concert memory stories in general? I always tell this one when people ask this question about the Bryan Adams and Def Leppard. Was the first one I ever went to. It was a lot of fun. But the one that I had fun was when I took my wife to Dodger Stadium actually to see Guns N' Roses. That was awesome.
Oh, nice.
It was great. Yeah.
My first concert, I went to Ozfest when I was 14, and it was Slipknot, Papa Roach, lots of bands I still listen to, and it was really cool because last week I got to go backstage at Papa Roach and like tell Jacoby he was my first concert because my publicist reps Papa Roach, so I literally got to like full circle 20 years later, hang with Jacoby and see Papa Roach like inside seats, like the closest I've ever possibly been after having saved up for 6 months of allowance to see them at Ozfest. So it was really cool.
Winston?
First concert, I can't remember, but I will say I have been to, I want to say all but 2 Childish Gambino concerts, which is every time was fantastic. I remember early on when he was still doing stand-up, he was doing half music, half stand-up, which was just absolutely just sick as fuck. So that was probably, excuse my language. So probably that, and I have seen Run the Jewels. I haven't seen Wu-Tang though.
Run the Jewels is something I definitely would love to see.
So good.
I'm sure. Okay, let's see. Next question here, gentlemen. And we have Chris Granier. If Schnepp was still here, who would you cast him as in a comic book film or show? I think he would have been a great Beyonder. I was going to say Beyonder. He would be a great Beyonder.
I think he'd love, and this is going to sound like a jab, but I think he'd love it. I think he would have loved to have been Mole Man.
Yeah, based off of what y'all have told me about him, I feel like he would have really loved Mole Man.
I just see him with the cane and like the green. I just think he would have loved that. Or I like his favorite character that was MODOK. I think he would have loved being MODOK.
Oh, that would have been great too. He was the one who always told me about Moon Knight. I knew nothing about Moon Knight. So, Skylar Shatman. For Wick 5, I want him to take down the whole system, the high table, while using his supposed death to his advantage, emphasizing stealth. Yeah, I mean, they announced they're definitely going to be doing more John Wick. Clearly, he survived. So if they're doing another one. So, yeah, I mean, that'd be interesting if they do it that way. Did you watch that stuff that they
I was in there for all that. I got to see 8 Minutes of Ballerina, which looks amazing. They're doing an anime prequel to John Wick. They're also doing a Donnie Yen directed and starring spinoff. And then John Wick 5 was confirmed. I hope he died and he fights God.
That'd be interesting. All right. Meek Pelly. The vibe I'm getting from Superman's tone feels very earnest. A good balance of sincerity, humor, seriousness, and fun. It's a good observation. I like that a lot. D2. I love the crypto scene. That's a dog excited to see his owner. It's very realistic. James Gunn balances heart and humor. I can't wait. People need to chill. I think people need to wait and see for sure. It's hard to judge. Oh, that looks terrible. I'm just curious. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Look at Sean McCabe. What's up, Sean? Good afternoon, guys. Always a pleasure to see you. Thank you, Sean. The Superman score is amazing. Coy, I saw a clip of you speaking on expectations for Doom. It was great. Christian Daredevil is killing it. Winston, you rock. Sean rocks.
Just the kindness.
Thank you.
Later.
Sean's really good, dude. Special ed. If you're pro Black Super Chat, breach. What does that mean?
If you're pro Black Super Chat, beach.
Mustache
Beach.
snowman.
I don't know. Kind of over my head. Chris Cranier. It would be great if that soup scene is at the beginning with voiceover. So you're probably wondering how I
So you're probably wondering.
Yeah.
Record scratch, John Cusack or whoever it was.
Oh, look at this. Jake Acavetta shows up on the day that Roxy and Steph isn't here. I don't want Steph or Rox to lose the Super Chat war, but I have to say that Midsummer is absolutely trash. This take is why Karina hates it.
I mean, okay, here's the thing. I don't understand why people think that movie is scary. I don't understand that at all, because I said this after I watched it for the first time like a couple months ago. Every one of my black instincts would have kicked in and been like, why the hell are we going in the middle of the woods with people we ain't never heard of before and we ain't got what? No, hell no, I'm going home. Like, that's the problem that I had. And I was like, you're just taking drugs from random strangers that you've never met before. Hell no. Like, I think it's a good movie, but I also thought it was very unrealistic for that reason.
Yeah, I didn't see it, and I really don't have any interest.
You never saw it?
I haven't seen it either.
I don't care.
Whoa.
Yeah, and I think it was one of the reasons because Drina talked about it like it was like, you know, The Godfather, and I was like, I don't care to see it. The Cali Kid, Val Kilmer, Cali Kid, R.I.P. Hell yeah. Winston, how you feel about Cowboys Parsons contract situation? Might be time to take Grandpa's keys away. Christian, who do you hope to see in the Giants draft? I think, again, I mean, I'd like to see somebody from Florida State go, so get the hell out of Florida State. It's so bad right now. But Winston, what do you think as far as
That's pissing me off, man. Yes, Grandpa should have had his keys taken away a long time ago, but Jerry Jones is not going to let go of anything for anybody. So
he's an actor now.
Go do that. Let somebody else be the GM. Go act.
Troy, thoughts?
I'm really excited for Clark Kent to be drafted from Kansas. I think he's going to do good things.
Joey Pedros, do we have any Spawn fans? I love Spawn. I remember McFarlane talking about a new film. Let me rewrite that. Joey Pedro says, do we have any Spawn fans here? I remember Todd McFarlane talking about a new film any chance he gets, but it seems quite think a Spawn movie could be big. I would love it. I would love it. I love the HBO series. I loved it. And when I interviewed Todd McFarlane, we talked about it at that time. He's like, yeah, it seems like it's going to happen. And every time I see him interview, yeah, it seems like it's going to happen. It never happened.
I talked to Todd about Spawn movie with Jamie Foxx, the same Spawn movie, when I worked at Collider.
I know. That's what I'm saying. It was Collider Live when I interviewed him.
It's been a while.
White was so good. Get him back, bro.
I love it. Anthony Borelli, I teach ninth graders and I mentioned being excited for Superman. And they replied with, there's a new Superman coming out, and with Cavill. That's a thing. I'm telling you, that's a thing, because this is what people don't understand, because if you watch shows like this, you think everybody knows about it. They don't, and they're not as tuned in, but they have no idea about James Gunn running the DCU and all that. They have no clue
until they start doing serious press. So until you see them on the late night shows, until you see them on hey, it's the NBA Finals brought to you by Superman. Like, until that happens, a lot of people are not going to be as aware.
Totally agree. D2 Coy, more kitty screen time, please. Such a sweetie.
He just left, but he was vibing. He appreciates it. D.
The Winter Shoulder. Excuse me. Captain, Iron Man, and Thor had a great dynamic in Avengers. Sam and Bucky have a great relationship, but will Thor fit back in with them? I think so, but they really have to reestablish Thor. They have to reestablish Thor. He's got to get out of Saturday Night Live. He's got to the comedy stuff. Fine, you were funny. We know how funny Chris Hemsworth can be. He's great.
I know how they're going to do it, though.
How?
I honestly think now that we know that Hiddleston's coming back, I think Thor seeing his brother is going to change a lot.
Maybe, and that's true. And to that, yeah, I mean, that version of Loki is just so different, right? We'll see. Dancing Dog 60. Back when Cobra came out, I drank Coors because John drank one at the beginning. I was young. So has product placement in film made you buy anything?
That's a fun question.
Yeah, this is a great question. I mean, I'm sure the answer is yes, and maybe even subconsciously, that that it's happened from watching it for sure. But I don't know. I don't know up top.
McDonald's, like I mean, again, back to we were talking about Val Kilmer. I remember them eating McDonald's in Batman Forever, and then they had the collectible cups, like the glass cups, and I was like, I gotta go to McDonald's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely craved things impulsively. I can't think of any, but I've definitely been like, oh, want that? And I'm like, man, my willpower's garbage.
There's no way they would do it these days because there'd be stupid TikTok videos of people smashing it over each other's heads. But back in the day when during the Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, Burger King had like they give away like these, they sold these glasses, like actual glasses that you and they were awesome. I remember like everybody had them. It was so cool. Gopal, Winston, I saw a guitar case on your stream. Do you play? What's in there?
I used to play bass in high school, and a friend of mine from a job gave me his guitar when he moved out of LA, and I started to learn how to play, but I did not commit. But I'm hoping that I will one day stop and actually do that.
Sure. D2, Spider-Man ride at Universal Orlando rocks. I didn't know there was
really does. It's awesome.
That's great. Gopal, Run the Jewels open for Rage when I took my niece and nephew. They're 26 and 23 now, and we're clowning RTG hard. Yeah, no, not now. Not now.
That sounds like a dope show.
It's so good.
Right.
The Mohave Social Club. Why they decide to show 3 minutes of footage before a proper trailer for Superman to the public? I think it's risky if the tone doesn't hit. I mean, they do need to show a different trailer. I don't disagree with that. It is interesting. I don't really disagree with them. Like, why did they go with that instead of a new trailer and then footage?
There's a big like anniversary. I don't know this. I want to preface this isn't inside DC Studios knowledge. It's assumption. But James Gunn said on some social media that he's finishing up the next trailer. Superman Day is a big holiday, and that's like in April. So that times out better for the movie release, and his day is, I think, a bigger impact.
Trey Porter, Christian the Woo is doing the Garden the day before July 16th. Tickets are selling fast. Saw a row that cost almost $1,500 each.
Oh my God! But it's their last concert ever. So
Roxy was talking about this the other day. Ticket prices are for concerts are crime. Special ed, talking about someone I'd love to see in concert. My uncle married a beautiful black queen and had 8 kids. Well, there you go. All right. Malik Muhammad. It looks like Sinners is getting great reactions. Really, I didn't realize people saw it. I also saw someone say that the trailers don't show a lot, so too much wasn't spoiled. Okay, I'm happy.
I think the premiere was in New York last night, and I think there's screenings starting next week.
There were screenings actually already. Because I saw a few people that I know that also do reviews and stuff like that they got access to go see it already, and some are saying that this is Coogler's best.
No, well, the press screenings haven't started yet though, but I think those do start next week. But that we'll see. We'll see. Haskell. Yo, last super chat for a long time. Car broke down. Gear shift cable or gear switch is gone. If the gear switch is the problem, I'm out 500. Oh man, if the gear shift cable is FD, that's parts no longer available. I would assume is what he's going to say. Next, we'll find out soon. Dancing Dog 60. Do you guys miss the WB and UPN?
I do.
The WB.
Dude, Wayne's Brothers, Jamie Foxx show, like
Static Man. I was big.
That's old school. So he made it for my 2004 Santa Fe and no aftermarket parts available for it anymore. Man, I'm sorry, Ed. My car would be dead and forced to buy a new used car, which I sure can't afford. So I might as well go down the ship. Take money. Oh, Ed, I feel terrible.
I'm so sorry. That's somebody that literally just went through some shit, man.
Oh, you did. Winston just went through that. Ed, that's horrible, buddy. I hope that gets better. I hope it's the lesser of the option. The Blazing Kitties. Question for all three of you: If DC Warner Brothers ever do a Power Girl movie, what actress do you choose for the part? Let me rephrase that question. Question for the two of you guys: If DC Warner Brothers ever do a Power Girl movie, what actress do you choose for the part? Meaning, I don't know what that is.
I got 2 words for you because I know the Power Girl casting will be based off 2 other things, and that is Sydney Sweeney.
Oh, okay.
Or you go and get an old school Christina Hendricks or something like that. It's the hold on, Christian. I will send you a photo of Power Girls.
I think I know what it is. They're like the little ones, and they're going. Right. Edward Collins II. You see that?
There you go.
Guy Ritchie is directing Roadhouse 2. No,
is that real?
Is that true?
Someone verify, because that's amazing news.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that. He might be busting chops. Motorola baseball talk. Luke went 4-4 the other day. It's amazing. 2 singles, 2 doubles. He's 6. If everybody was going to ask, coaches are pitching. That's great. That's great, Joe. Wow, he's 6 already. Holy crap!
In talks reportedly via Screen Rant.
Wow, look at that.
Talks to direct Roadhouse 2.
Roadhouse 2?
Potential theatrical release after reboot was released on streaming.
That's fun. That's a look at Coy. Coy just had a
move over, Odyssey. Guy Ritchie's doing Roadhouse 2.
The Rock's UFL is really bad. Lousy football, says Dancing Dog 60. Never watched a frame of it. Wouldn't be able to say. Don't know. Yeah. Zeus Fleming. Hey, all. Sorry. Just finally got to LA for my classes. So money and time has been tight. Happy to see everyone. Hope you're all still kicking ass. We are, Zeus. And hopefully you come back in and check out what's going on. Especially, look, you're a member also. Stop by the Q&A. Be part of it.
This is for D for the super chat.
There you go. Perfect. Brett Flint, are we going to see Charles die again? I'll walk out. I know. I don't like another. Yeah, Winston doesn't think he died in Logan. So, yeah.
Man, you just love. You were the pettiest person on the.
Petty? No. That's every single person in the comments was like, Winston doesn't think murder is when someone gets stabbed. He thinks he died of.
I thought that he was already dying of Alzheimer's. You just had the clone push him a little quicker. That he was already dead.
We're all dying.
We're all right. He was murdered.
Bro, he literally almost died in the hotel because he had his brain aneurysm crap all over. He was literally going to be dead within a couple days.
Was murdered. What murder? Stephanie Litt. Thor 5 needs Amon Amarth death metal soundtrack. Okay. I'm so curious if they were going to do a Thor 5 now. I don't know. Support from DJ Case. Thank you, DJ Case. Droopy McCool. My mom actually worked for Burger King, so she had all the collector's cups for Return of the Jedi. I love your work, guys. Thank you. I love those. I'm telling you, people still have those things somewhere. Armada. I got my Woo tickets and Weekend too. There you go,
dude.
Yeah. Spidey Sensei 72 saw Wu-Tang, Snoop, Slick Rick, and Nas years ago. That's so cool. Lauryn Hill was 3 hours late and nearly ruined the whole show. She was someone who was so talented that just got in her own way.
She fully slipped, and I don't know if it was just a full mental break or if it was drugs or whatever, but she fully slipped, and that sucks because she was at the top of the world. She's one of the only rap albums to ever win Album of the Year, like one of two. So
I think Doechii makes 3, but I'm not sure. Or I'm sorry,
she win Album of the Year. It's only Outkast.
Doechii was the third female rap artist, is what I was thinking of.
Yes, but as far as like Album of the Year, it's only Outkast and her. That's it.
Yeah. Wow.
Dancing Dog 60. Lundgren's Punisher is really underrated. I agree. I like that movie. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I loved it growing up. Zeus Fleming, best actor and actress in your opinion, today or all time? Actor, I would say right today. We'll go with today. I say Timothée Chalamet is probably the number one right now, as far as up and coming, and it's in general. And then actress. Emily Blunt's pretty damn good. The first one that comes to mind. I'll just put those out there, but I don't know if that's necessarily
actor and actress. Yeah, I don't know.
I'm gonna go Colin Farrell right now, and then I'm a big Natalie Portman fan. I'm always happy when she's doing something. Natalie Portman, Colin Farrell.
Okay. Armada. Also underrated rapper Recom is Denzel Curry.
Oh, yeah, Denzel Curry's very good. Yeah.
Go, pal. Who says, Coy, I haven't seen your DC show recently. Is that still coming out on YouTube?
It's every 2 weeks. So every other Friday on Max and Max's YouTube, every 2 weeks. And yeah, we got a bunch of really cool stuff cooking. I can't talk about it yet, but there's a big episode spread that I'm excited to have come out.
Okay. Let's see. Next one. And let's see. We have Go, pal.
Thanks for watching.
Yes. That's coming out soon. Next one is Dancing Dog says State Farm Bateman needs to be in the DCU. Those comics, those commercials.
Great. Funny.
Yeah. Go Pal. Adelia Kane did a Power Girl cosplay at San Diego Comic-Con pre-rain. She can still pull it off, I think. Yeah, again, that freaking Power Girl over my head. Motorola, any good kiddo sports stories, Kristian? There's this kid on Luke's team who I guess was goofing off too much. Parents said, knock it off or we'll take you. And this little punk replied with, good. I hate this anyway. Well, no, I mean, nothing yet. Except we're actually literally just got a text from my wife because my oldest is trying out for the softball team right now. And my little one wants to start playing softball. So no stories yet. Winston, you didn't see my text. I love you to death. You got to move over. You're half your faces. Armada. Have you all watched Eastbound and Down? parts of it?
I haven't, but I've heard that it's a very good show. I've actually been binge watching Barry right now. I don't know how I missed this when it was in its run. It's so good.
Okay, we hit the end, gentlemen. 95, pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Steph had a good run. So, but it's good to have you guys back. I'm glad you guys are back. We'll be, and Corey, you're here next week.
Yeah, I'm back.
Okay, so we guys are back next week. We all have a lot to talk about. We had a lot in general to talk about. Thank you to everybody. So make sure you comment, click like, do all that. Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Go check out Corey Gendro at his channel. Go check out the Swaggy Blurred on his channel. Thank you guys for being here, and I appreciate you so much. Again, if you haven't become a member, please do so. We got a lot of great benefits going on here right now. I hope you check it out. And that's it. So for Winston and Coy, see you guys very soon. Bye.